hope everyone is having a good day. Welcome on in. Let me just move a couple things around quickly. I have my biscuits on my desk still. There we go. And get that there. This is going to be potentially a bit of a different kind of stream for a few people because I think it's been a really long time since I used the VTuber. So I think there's probably a few people here who haven't seen a VTuber stream from us. Oh dear. So get ready for maybe a slightly different kind of vibe. Actually, where is my VTuber face cam? Here it is. Oh. There it is. There I am. Really, really nice and low down. Heck yeah. You see me? That's me. All the way down there. No, here I am. Yeah. We have like a little ocean design. Yeah. So when I'm not feeling very well, or when I just don't want to be on camera for whatever reason, I have this. Yeah. Oh dear. She's very evil. Look at her very sharp teeth. Gah! Oh, actually, I probably want my keyboard somewhere close by, huh? Where can I have it that it won't be on camera? Because, you know, reasons. I have a lot of shortcuts that it'd be good to use. That way I could do stuff like... oh no. How do I do it? Is it not that? There you go. That's not the one I was thinking of, but that'll do. No, that's not the one God, I'm out of practice, huh? George, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. I'm okay. I have a bit of a fever and a bit of a headache. And I haven't tested positive for COVID, but I'm kind of waiting to. It feels like that kind of day, you know? But other than that, I'm all right. So I'm counting my blessings. Honestly, as long as I don't have a blocked nose, I'm happy. I just really can't deal with blocked nose. I need to remember what my shortcuts are really quickly. Oh yeah, there's my angry one. Wow. What other ones did I have? I had, I think, this one. Yeah, if I'm really shook. And then this one. Oh, that's my crying one. There you go. I have a fever. I'm not very well. Oh dear. Glad that you're doing all right. Yeah. Oh dear. So yeah, we're going to be doing a bit of an art stream today. I don't think I have a specifically art one. I have like sewing. But I don't. And I have a cup of tea. I don't think I have any specifically art. Because I don't normally do art. So I'm not prepared. Oh well. Yeah, this will be us for the day. I just don't really want to be on camera. I want to be able to dress really cool. And also I've got lots of cooling pads on to try and get my temperature down a bit. So as I figured, you know, we're just not show face today. What is it going? It's gonna be this one, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. This one's a bit more optimized. So this is what we'll be doing today. We'll be doing some heckin' arts. I haven't bothered with the whole setup, like the gloves and everything like that today. Again, just because, you know, trying to stay cool. I got a fever. Cthulhu, welcome on in. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to a bit of a different kind of stream. When I move my head, my VTuber has such a dramatic head turn. Oh dear. I did rig her very, very quickly, to be fair. I just wanted something a little bit more cartoonish because it felt like it fit the channel more than a serious VTuber. I see we are slightly unwell. Just a little bit, yeah. I'll be honest, I feel okay. I've got a little bit of a headache and I have a kind of a fever. Not just kind of a fever. I've got quite a fever today. I woke up and I was like, something's wrong with me. But it's not that bad. Something's wrong, but it's not that bad. And then I was just sweating out of every pore, and I was like, I recognize this. It's been a while. Oh dear. So yeah, we'll use the VTuber today. We'll be mildly horrific. Take it easy. I will, thank you. Do not worry. I kind of, because I don't feel too ill, I'm just like a little bit more tired than usual. I'm quite happy just to like do arts and stuff like that instead, because I get bored. I get bored really quickly. Even when I'm ill, I'm like, I'm bored. I'll sleep for a bit, wake up and be bored. So I don't want to just do nothing. It does mean though, unfortunately, I probably am not going to be able to go to the house tomorrow. This is going to sound maybe a bit weird. I was really looking forward to stripping the wallpaper. It's so, as much as it's kind of a pain because it's layer after layer after layer, we have a wallpaper steamer that's very kindly been lent to us from some family. And so you just have to like steam the whole piece of wool, and then you can take off an entire strip of wallpaper, and it's so satisfying. Ah, that's okay though. I can do it another time when I'm feeling a bit better. Unfortunately, Shiny also has a fever. We both woke up today and were like, ah. So I don't know what's happened, but we both woke up with fevers today. Ah, good stuff. Tacoma, welcome on in. I hope you're having a good day. We're going to be doing some art. I haven't quite decided, because I wasn't planning on doing a lot of art today. I haven't quite decided what part we're going to be doing today, because we've been slowly but surely getting this cosplay planned out with different maps, with different detailed drawings. I think I want to have a little bit of fun and just draw some fun things for this costume. Also, I've downloaded Blender so that I can start learning how to do that, because yeah, I've used 3ds Max before, but I've never used Blender. That's not quite true. I did use Blender once, but I hated it. I really disliked it. So I've been watching some tutorials on Blender, and actually it just seems like I didn't watch enough tutorials, and I was just being silly. So I'm going to start using Blender and getting a bit more into that. I know quite a few streamers who also use Blender, so if I have any questions, I might just ask them and be like, help, I am a noob. I'm doing my best. Dear, so I got my cup of tea over here. Yes, that's the plan. Oh, and also, okay, this is kind of going to become a rabbit hole, and I know it. I found a new kind of embroidery that I want to try. I've forgotten what it's called, but I did already add something to my Amazon cart, so it should be pretty easy to find. Oh, Tamor hooks? Tamor hooks? Basically, to do beading, it might be a lot quicker if I use these hooks, so that's something that I will probably do for this costume. It's fun trying new things, and this costume, a lot of it does rely on stuff that I'm already pretty confident with, so it'll be nice to try something new, and that's new to me. I was watching other people do videos of it, like, I want to do that, that looks fun. Oh, it's good, doesn't that really? I really want a place I can decorate it just how I want. Yeah, like peeling off all the layers of other people's houses so that you can repaint it with your own. It's like, that's nice. I can't say well my wig died after wig. Jumbo, welcome on in. That sounds like a wig. I think most people have to restyle the wig after every single convention. But hey, if it went well, that's it. That's good. I've got like a nice hot chai, because I think that's what you're meant to drink when you're ill, right? Chai. Ah. Oh wait, I can see that you want this read in a super hippie voice. I don't know if I can do that. I think I'm just gonna go into American, but I'll give him a shot. Hey lady dude, have you, you know, how was that? I perfect, nailed it. Hi Zay, welcome on in. I hope you're having a good day. Painted layers of other people, yes. Houses. Oh dear. Hair fell off. I'm sad I used it on Friday and not the other 2 days when the real traffic took off. Yeah, that's something that like I think I learned as well, is if you're doing a really impressive costume, do it on the Saturday. The Saturday will always have the most photographers, and you'll meet the most other cosplayers on the Saturday too, so you can get the best group shots. So Saturday for big cosplay, small cosplays on Friday, and I guess Sunday could be either or, but I'd say Saturday you gotta do the big costume. Big costumes on Saturday. Oh dear, 12 out of 10, thank you. Oh dear. I just managed to add, hey, nice. That's pretty good. That's a lot more than I managed. I was terrible. I had to wait for people to find me because I forgot to take any business cards. Oh dear. I was too excited. This happens a lot, honestly. I get excited and I forget to do what I meant to. There is a sketch on this page, but I might leave that for now because I actually don't remember what I was doing. I'll have to rewatch the VOD to see what that was for. Because yeah, I don't recognize it. Oh dear. Pip, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Hello, hello. I haven't got a wave. I have to just stay curled up in my blanket. That's what they walked up to me. Heck yeah, that is lovely. Oh dear. Oh dear. I miss conventions already. I won't be probably doing any more conventions this year because they are quite expensive to travel to for me, since there's not a lot of conventions in my area. There was one that's coming up, but if I have COVID, I won't be able to go to it anyway. And to be honest, I wasn't really planning to go to it, so it's okay. It would have been like 2 hours of traveling anyway. That's the thing, is like that's the closest convention to me, and it's 2 hours away. And then all the others are like, I have to stay overnight. Oh dear. Planning a D&D campaign, heck yeah! We're actually doing a D&D cosplay right now. But I'm not doing any of that today because I'm not feeling very well and I don't want to use my sewing machine. But we are making one. We're doing a tiefling druid. We designed it on stream with chat. Heck yeah. So she looks like a mushroom druid. It's very cute. 25 minutes I train, not counting walking. That's not too bad. That's heckin'. You know what? Manageable. Sleeves, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Nice. Yeah. I like D&D a lot. I also really like Pathfinder. Pathfinder is too grab it. Pathfinder is probably still my favorite tabletop. I've had a lot of really fun experiences playing it, so that's probably why I like it so much. But D&D was the first for me, so it'll always hold a special place in my heart. And then I also like Vampire. Yeah, yes. Ooh. Your first campaign is gonna be a zombie Oh, good. To be fair though, actually, I can kind of see that working really well for a first campaign because there is some kind of like, even if you alter them, there are basic rules to apply in like a zombie apocalypse. So that'll probably go really well. Heck yeah. Nice. Good luck. I hope that it goes well. Yeah. Dear. I haven't really done any drawing yet. I will. We're going to be taking it slow today. Today will be a slow day. Oh dear. Horde mechanics are fun to play with. Exactly. It's like, it's kind of a cool one because there's, even if you change it, there are kind of things that happen in a zombie apocalypse just naturally. So you kind of have the basis in your player's mind already of what they're kind of expected to do, which is pretty good. Makes it easier for players to follow. Our own homebrew creature, heck yeah. See, that's a nice thing, is like you have your basics, you have like the world kind of in a way that most people can comprehend, and then you add your own things to make it personal. I like that, yeah. At first I was like, that's gonna be really difficult, but then actually no, I think it'll be pretty good. Heck yeah. I once made it so melee strike or spell with a verbal component had a chance to summon one. That sounds very broken, but I like it. Someone with my luck would unfortunately probably summon a lot more zombies than they intended to. I like that. Alright, speaking of zombies, shall we draw some? We're gonna be... What bit should I focus on today? I mean, I kind of maybe just want to get like a better diagram for this guy, because I mean, this is pretty good, but I mean, I could follow this. The other thing that I need to draw is I need to draw the things that I'm going to be 3D printing. I won't really be doing as much 3D printing for the molded, but for Zoe, like, she'll require quite a bit, especially like on this bit. So there are like some little bits here which I would want 3D printed. The spikes coming off of the side, I want 3D printed. I don't know about the lumps here, whether I want them 3D printed, and then I'll cover them with fabric. That probably somewhat depends on the fabric samples that come in the post and whether or not I like any of them enough to do that. Dear. I'm on a rough outline right now. Time locations and main story. I'm not doing a module side, the basics, but most of it's homebrew. Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm not seeing a VTuber, that's adorable, thank you. We have this for the sick days. That way I can still stream and I can still have like a face to emote at you. That's why it's pretty simple and pretty cute. We did have a more complicated VTuber, but it didn't really suit why I was using it, because I only really used the VTuber when I wasn't well. So it's like, I think this suits why we use a VTuber a little bit better. I do have tentacles as well. I don't know where I am on this scene. I think it's this one. There they are. Tentacles. They're down there. Oh dear. Yeah. Otherwise just wrapped in blanket. Oh, zombies only had 1 HP, so it was all about getting an actual horde. Heck yeah. I would have wanted a horde. Yeah, the things we need to design for this are like all the little spikes. I also would like to do some of them out of resin, but I'm gonna keep that pretty minimal because resin's a lot heavier than 3D printed fibers and stuff like that. So basically if I put like some of it here, it might cause this bit to fold over a little or not stick as close to the skin, because the fabric in this section will be stretch, which means anything like here would just bend over, which is not ideal. So instead I'll be using probably the 3D printer for this, and maybe resin more for pieces like this, which wouldn't as likely fold over. I also, actually that is one thing that I need to do. For the hair, I've got a plan, but it's quite intense. The wig is going to be really intense. So a lot of you already know that I can't really wear wigs because I have HS on my forehead, which it's just not, I physically could wear a wig, but it wouldn't be very safe for me, so I just don't do it. This character has hair though, which means that we will be making our own style wig cap, which wears a lot more like a hat, so it's a lot stiffer, and I can take it off without it becoming unstyled pretty easily. I've done this on stream many times at this point, between like the Nico wig and like the Celeste wig, we made the Garbador wig, we made the Corvasoir wig. Like, I have made so many wigs on this channel, but the way that we do it is just with a really thick base so that it comes on and off like a hat. And it works a lot better for me because that way if I feel like my head is getting at all too hot, I can just take it straight off, which is really good. And then what I want to do with it is, because she's meant to be like crystallized, I'm going to sew in some hair to the wig. I will sew in some and then cast it kind of in resin. So like I probably will end up putting glue in the hair to start with to stick certain strands together, and then I'll paint over that in resin so that as I move my hair will be like that's the plan. The plan is I want my hair to make like noise, like they're all separate crystals kind of thing. So we won't be doing it with individual hairs, we'll be doing it with like clumps of hair so that it's not a ridiculous project. And then also I would like some 3D printed parts in there as well, so like some actual crystals in the head. If I grab an image really quickly so you can kind of see, I guess we're probably going to do some more designing on Zoe today, so I'll grab some images of Zoe. I've actually started making a folder for this now, so I have all of my reference images in one place. Do I have any face pictures of Zoe? I have a few like with body attached. Actually, I kind of want to show you this one because this one's a really good picture. Oh, actually that one's a really good picture too. Oh, I got a few really good pictures. You can see this one first. Actually, that might be a really good one to do because, can't stop, save that. There you go. So this is what Zoe looks like when you can see her lying down. Like you'll put her on the sofa and then look at the detail of this. Like, do you see this? This is why I wanted to do this cosplay so badly, because you see this and it's just like, it's stunningly beautiful. Like, her whole body has changed to a slightly lighter shade, so she does get quite pale, which suits me because that's probably my natural skin color, honestly. Like, for her, it's a dramatic change, but for me, I can just put my foundation on and that's my skin color. Oh dear. And then all of the details on the arms are just so pretty. It is like she's frozen, but like in crystals. It's so cool. So yeah, this is cosplay plan. Very excited about it. But the hair looks like normal hair, and that kind of bothered me. It's always kind of bothered me. I see if I get any pictures of the face. I don't think I have any. I did have one, but it wouldn't save properly, so I can't put it in here like this. This one's got her face in it. There you go. You can see it there. Do you see how her hair still looks like normal hair? Like, that annoys the heck out of me. Like, if she's covered in crystals on her whole body, also, goddamn, this image is huge. If she's covered in crystals on her whole body, I feel like her hair should not be hair. Like, why did her hair not crystallize? I don't like that. So I am going to be crystallizing her hair up a little bit. It's not accurate, I know that, but I like it more like that. Oh dear. Stretch! Ah, there you go. Also, Scott, thank you for the egg. I hope you're having a good day. Guess you can only cosplay this in the freezer, otherwise your costume will melt. Yeah, so the plan is to actually make this costume out of real ice. I'm gonna be so cold the whole time I wear it. Oh dear. But it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Hair is dead, so if only living cells can be frozen by the crystals, it's accurate, the hair is still hair. But that's like not what happened with everyone else, right? Or am I remembering this wrong? Like, not that the hair specifically did anything, but the scalp does. Like in all of the other transformations, like the scalp has pretty intense movement and growth. I guess, and so that's where like what happens with the hair, but there's nothing on her scalp. Her scalp is clear. Also, I'm so sorry. Ah! My voice. It is trying. It is trying. Ah, dear. Ooh. I don't know. It just feels like she should have some growth. Her hair is not growthy enough for me, so I want to put some in there. Not like maybe as big as the growths on her body, but like I would like between the hairs to have some like 3D printed crystals and stuff like that. I think make it patchy at least, especially because you can see it's really going up the left, or is it no, the right side of her face. Our left, her right. So it makes sense that it would go into the hairline, at least in my mind. I'm like, what doesn't it just stop? When it hits hair, just stop. I don't know, all over the picture. I don't know where it comes from. It's from Resident Evil 7. But specifically Zoe is from End of Zoe, which is the DLC. But the molded are the whole way through Resident Evil 7. And yeah. As well as like I am taking some inspiration from Jack for the molded, because Jack has a really cool molded design. The others I'm not so bothered by. Marguerite's is interesting, but it's a bit too specific. And Lucas's, it's fine. It didn't really wow me. Lucas's transformation was fine, but their molded form is not. I don't know. Maybe because it doesn't feel so specific as the other two. Yeah, but Jack's is really cool, and I wanted to take some inspiration for that because Jack does look very, very similar from the molded when they're in their fully infected form. Whereas Marguerite's their own. Marguerite would be a really fun costume, but not right now. I think Marguerite would be fun, but not for now, because I really want to do this one first. And I have no interest in Evelyn, really, or what's my wife's name? Mia? I have no interest in Mia. I only saved Mia because it was because that was the whole point of the game. I would have saved Zoe. Zoe was by far the better character and was a lot more helpful to us throughout the game. Oh yeah. Although I have read, did I do it myself? I think not. I think I read this afterwards. You're kind of punished if you pick Zoe, apparently. So there's like a part in the game where you only have one antidote for the infection, and you can give it to either Mia, your wife, or Zoe, the person who's helped you for the entire game so far. And like, I guess you're meant to give it to Mia, because if you give it to Zoe, apparently you're punished. Like, it's not a good ending for you. But it made no sense to me because Zoe was like such a good character, and like I actually really liked Zoe, and she was really helpful and like smart and flying under the radar all the time, and she like risked her life for us, whereas Mia legitimately tried to kill us so many times. And you're meant to save Mia because she's your wife, and I'm nah, not my favorite. I really enjoyed Resident Evil 7, but like finding out that you're punished for saving Zoe is like, but I saved the best character. I'll be punished for that. Oh dear. Anyway, it ended up being okay though, because then you got the DLC End of Zoe, and that is, I think, one of my favorite DLCs for a game, because it was kind of needed if you wanted to know what happened to Zoe and like wrap up that part of the story. The DLCs for Resident Evil 7 were really good. Like, they wrapped up so many of the loose ends. Not that it had too many loose ends, the main game, but like, there were characters it would be like cool to know what happened to them afterwards. And it kind of did all of that. And Zoe's was so cool. In Zoe, excuse me. In Zoe's DLC, you get to punch the molded. You're gonna punch them over. It's great. So yeah, big fan. I really want to see if I can get. His name's Joe, right? I want to see if I can get Shiny to do a Joe cosplay, so that when we're around together, he could just carry me around the convention. Because Zoe is just carried around by Joe for like, I don't know, some of the more notable parts of the DLC, because Zoe's asleep, or like, is she asleep or hibernating? I don't know. But she's like asleep for the majority of the DLC. Most of it you're like Joe. She's only really there right at the beginning where you see her get infected. Well, she was already infected, but see her get crystallized. And then at the end when she's like recovering, other than that, you don't see her at all. But Joe is a big character in that DLC. Anime, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Welcome. And Duster, welcome. I hope you're both doing good today. We're going to be doing an art stream. I said that I haven't done any art yet, and it's been half an hour, but I have been intending to do some art. Like, art was going to happen. I got a bit distracted, and I honestly don't know which part I want to draw as well. I've been drawing a lot of the molded, but maybe it would be kind of cool to draw some of Zoe. In fact, I kind of preferred the picture that I had before, I think. It just kind of, it's been more what I wanted. Let's see. Just because these are really good photos, but like, this one's really, really good. Just for, I might rotate her around a bit, just so that it fits on the screen better. Can I rotate? Oh, maybe the other way up so her head's not at the bottom. I feel a bit bad with her head being at the bottom. There you go. Yeah, it's just got like some really good detail on it, so it'd be really useful. Because I might try to draw out some bits of Zoe's costume, I think. Just because it is so highly detailed, and it's like there are motifs that repeat, but nothing that's like a pattern. So it's all unique. Oh, and this is where I really got into the idea of doing a lot of this with the heckin' hook, which is not a skill that I've ever used, and I have no experience with it. But I saw one video of somebody using a, what was it, timbre hook, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. So even though I'm like pretty confident in my embroidery skills, I'm like, no, timbre hook. I've never done that before. It's perfect. Lazy Jelly singing her cosplay through. Shiny, you're Joe. You're supposed to carry me. Well, that's good. In all of the promotional art for End of Zoe, Zoe is being carried by Joe. So really, it would just be accuracy, right? Oh dear. Off sick sadly and walking around with my Gundam model kick. I am sick too. Welcome to the sick club. We have tissues and tea. Oh dear. It's got a really good sleep. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, I'm gonna have some more of my tea. Speaking of tea, more tea. Ooh. Ah, very good. Yeah, I think actually if I'm gonna be doing Zoe, I'll do it on the next page because there's already some molded kind of sketches on this page. But what I think I really want to do is, I guess, let's do a really, really close up of the bust, because there's not in a weird way, but there's a lot of design on the bust. If I can get the bust from several angles as well, so maybe I could do on this page more from the right side, and then on the other one I'll do more from the left side, because I've got to get this bust piece down. The bust to the bust to the hips, I'm gonna say, is like some of the most detailed parts of this costume, so I need to get that down pretty early, because I do actually want to start Zoe's costume probably before I start the molded, when we do get sewing, because that's a lot of embroidery, and as we all know very well here at this point, embroidery takes a really long time. And so I don't want to be leaving that till second, because that's going to take a lot longer. It's not as well that I don't plan to do any embroidery on the molded. I probably will do some, but it will be a lot less than whatever I do to Zoe, so yeah, let's get that there, and then get some neck, and then into the shoulder, and then into the shoulder, and then booba right there, and then other booba kind of comes off the side, and there you go. That looks pretty good. Yep, that'll do. That's a booba. Actually, that could go a bit closer to the center, honestly, because the booba is spread a little far. There you go. And get that up to there, and then get a waist in there. Like so, I believe, and then that would end up being the pant line. I always put the pant line in because it just gives me an idea of, like, as far as a bodysuit goes, there'll probably be some cuts there. So get that in, and then get a solid outline so that I know where I'm drawing from. So I'm going to be doing the same thing that I did before, which is basically using a colored biro to get some of the details in, because that way I can have my base shape like so, and then I can do all the detail with biro later. Let's get like the abdominals in as well, actually, because the abdominals will probably be about there. Yeah, say like that. Okay, cool. We have a basic shape to start designing. She doesn't need a head. No head. No head necessary. I do feel like I could honestly go out with the hips a bit more. I am a bottom heavy lady, so let's get the hips out just a little more. And there you go. Okay, that feels a bit better. Ah, dear sleeves. And Cooper, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Sleeves. You coming in with the boobs? No, actually, speaking of the boobs, they actually look a little bit high, don't you think? Should we get them a bit lower? I think mine would be more like down here. Like so. And then this one's a bit high too. Sometimes you just draw the boobs in a bit high, and that's okay. Just put them down. Put them down there. There you go. Is that still too high on the right side? I think that it is. I think right side could still go a little lower. There you go. That's a bit better. See, they do look too close together. I was like, I have been racking my brains. Where does boob go? This was literally my job for the longest time. Where does boob go? There you go, that's better. Bit lower, bit lower. Give us a little bit more collar space. Like here. Oh dear, not really in a funk. I'm sorry to hear that. Everyone's feeling funky today. I am also feeling funky. I have a super high fever. I cannot stop sweating, actually. That's why we're using a VTuber. Oh god, I am a damp jellyfish today. Oh, that's maybe not the kind of funk you're in. The kind of funk I'm in is gross. I'm a gross, funky lady. Oh. Morty, I'm delirious? Not yet. I'll wait later to stream and then I'll probably be delirious. I'm fine. It's a silent. Welcome on in. I'll be all right. I actually, when I was little, I used to get fevers nearly every single cold. So I am like, I'm a seasoned professional of having a fever. You know? Don't worry about me. I'm good at this. Oh dear. Right, that's probably a little high, but the reason I'm kind of being a bit particular about it is because when I draw the bit over the top, it's I need to know where the arm is, and it makes it difficult if I've got it funky here. I think that's okay. Yeah. Can I use this to draw something? Maybe. Also, Shiny gave me some of their biros, so I have some better biros now. I know these look like the really bog standard ones, but they work so well. And they're new. Like, none of the ink from these has been used. Right, I'm gonna actually really quickly, before I start borrowing, I'm gonna draw the other side because I've just realized I've actually got the other side on screen right now. Oh dear. Planning, organization, all words I don't understand. Okay. So then we do this. Get the other side vaguely drawn in. Honestly, it doesn't really matter if it's the same or not, as long as it's from the other side and the proportions are similar. That's fine. That's fine by me. We can do that. Get the whip 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 whip. And then get a nice rib cage on me. Yes, love that. It's and then actually I think I can go in further from this side. There you go. And then less far from this side. There we go, that's a bit better. And then get my little shoulder over there, big shoulder over here, because perspective. And then get that going over there, and up to the neck, and then get that going over there, and then I've drawn this one bigger, but that's okay. I can live with my mistake. And then I'll get that there, and then she doesn't need a head, so no head. And then we just need some booba, and then we can keep going. I have an idea, because you're making this for yourself. Could you keep the restaurant pictures? Could you take pictures, then pose yourself to the sketch? I probably could, honestly. I mean, they look like pretty easy poses. I just have to lie down on the couch. And I do that basically every day anyway. So I could just get Shiny to take some pictures of me lying on the couch. That's actually not a bad idea. I like the idea of that. I still would probably need to draw them out as far as getting plans that I can follow really easily. But it would be an easier way of me getting the, what do you call it, the plans to start with, I suppose? Yeah, I could do that. Is boob too high? This one, maybe I can just do a little bit up. There you go. Oh, that's now. No, I had it in a really good natural shape. Ruined it. That's okay. That's okay. There you go. Alright, we'll detail in, get the pant line for my benefit, and then we can start looking at this. Heck yeah! I had to wear a bra when lying on the couch. Oh, Cthulhu coming in with the real tips. I like the idea of like going full pancake boob and then photoshopping them so they sit right. Oh, that'd be fun. There we go. Get that bit circled around there. Get that bit around there. And then get a little circle going on that. Get around the edge there. And a nice circle. And then get all of that in there. And then just make sure that's outlined properly. There you go. Okay, now we have 2 figures of which to draw off. Good stuff. To get some plans started, not bad. So we're starting. Oh my god! Whoa! If you do a time, heck yeah, Shifty! Thank you for the 23 months. That's very kind of you. We're just getting some of the designs drawn out. I probably will have to do some arm stuff as well because there's a lot of really good detail on the arm here. But we're just getting some ideas of what I will be doing for this. The other thing I need to work out is whether or not I want to wear like a slip underneath in the right shape or if I want to have it attached. Because I'm honestly not sure. The thing is, positives and negatives to both. A slip underneath would mean that I could take this off and I'd still be wearing clothing, which for TwitchCon would be great. But the negative is that if the slip moves, I could expose something naughty, and that's no good. I would expect the slip hopefully wouldn't move too much, but it is a slightly higher risk with that. I don't know. There are positives and negatives to both, and I'm just not sure. I'm just filling in both sides as well, because I'm like, listen, the outside is the same on both. There you go. And then we have under the bust, like a cavity here. And then on this side, it's going to look huge. Fortunately, and any other female cosplayers here probably know this, all people have just worn unusual outfits. The dress piece, or the bodysuit piece covers both where the bra sits and where the pants sit. So you can wear underwear with this. Very important, yep. People don't realize how important underwear placement is until you do something really close to the skin and you're like, shoot, wait a second, wait a second. Where do all the bits go? Oh no. And this is one where you could very easily have that issue. The only thing is, actually, it looks like it maybe comes down at the side, which I thought it went up. But now that I'm looking at it from this side, kind of looks like, so wait a second, it kind of looks like it, maybe it's more of a circle? If that's the case, that's fine. That gives me more space to embroider on. I'm not mad about that, but I think it might be more of a circle of space. Because, yeah, there's like designs up that side. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. We can do that. No panic. Oh dear, but there is definitely some space here, and I can see that from the other designs too. You're very cool, yeah. Very cool, heck yeah. That's me. I don't have a cool emote, but that is definitely me. I have the emote in chat. Wait, where is it? Oh no. Oh dear. There it is. Thank you. If I can't do it, I'll do it in chat at least. Yeah, I'm a bit under the weather, a bit sick. We managed to avoid getting. Speaking of, that is a thing that's trending on Twitter at the moment, and honestly, for good reason. Cool. You know how like everybody got COVID at TwitchCon in Amsterdam? Well, not everybody, but a lot of people. It was kind of like, I know at least with the cosplayers, at least like half of the people that were in the cosplay contest, judges and all, got like COVID. Like, if a cosplay person didn't get COVID, their assistant did. Like, COVID was, like, basically we had little group chats of, like, watching people come down with COVID after TwitchCon. Both me and Shiny were really, really lucky to avoid it, because every single person in the booths around us got it. So yeah, there was a lot of COVID at TwitchCon, and in Amsterdam, I can speak for the people that I hung out with, nearly everybody got COVID from the people that I hung out with. And I promise it wasn't me, I wasn't spreading it, I didn't have COVID. But like, yeah, it was pretty intense at Amsterdam. And they've just announced at San Diego that there will be a no mask, no vaccination needed, all of that. And it's like, you just created like a small epidemic within your in Amsterdam. What? Have you learned nothing? Did you not see what happened to Amsterdam? Like, half of the people that went got COVID from your convention. Like, dear. So people are quite upset. On Twitter, and honestly, justly, because especially in America, there are a lot of conventions that are taking precautions with COVID and are enforcing masks or vaccination policies, like one or the other, but they are having something enforced to try and prevent outbreaks happening at their events. So for TwitchCon to have had this like absolute mess in Amsterdam and now do the same thing in San Diego, I tell you, if you've entered the cosplay contest, I hope you have better luck avoiding COVID than all of we did, because me and Shiny didn't get it, but nearly everybody else did. There were very few people who didn't get COVID, and yeah. And bear in mind, nobody had symptoms on the day. Not a single one of us had symptoms on the day. Like, and everyone was testing, everyone was doing their best, everyone got COVID. Oh dear, so just a heads up. Wait, really? Honestly, I'm not surprised yet. Echo, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Welcome on in. Oh dear. So This is walk around thing is why I'm planning on making the dress cloak for my cosplay so I can take off the armor and still be able to walk around. Most just pin the skirt parts of their armor. Yeah, I think especially with TwitchCon having a lot of rules about what you can wear in the convention, having it so that you can take all the larger parts off, really smart, because it means you can actually walk around the convention and meet people in your costume. Otherwise, because that's not something I could do. I could not go around the convention and meet people in my cosplay. The only opportunity that I got to do that was half an hour where we were ferried around the floor by security, and the only reason I was allowed to do that was because I was part of the cosplay competition. And we didn't really have a lot of choice of what was going on. Like, they'd say, like, we're going to here, and then we couldn't really stop and speak to people because we had, like, a schedule to keep to. So we walked around the floor, but that's what we did. We literally walked around the floor from place to place to place, and then went back. And that was all I was allowed to do in my costume. And I only had part of my costume on. I didn't wear the wings or anything like that around the floor. San Diego is going down with COVID, absolutely. I saw San Diego Con and it was all masks and proper graded masks. Yeah, and like, it's not, like you wouldn't even have to like reduce ticket sales or anything like that. Just, you know, if you've already sold all the tickets, that's fine, but making sure that you have a mask policy or like a vaccination policy or anything like that. I think mask is easier, honestly, than the vaccination one, because like, you know, for some people getting that documentation is a bit difficult, especially last minute, especially if you're coming from abroad. But sorry, I'm just like adjusting myself. There you go. I got COVID and I wasn't even in Amsterdam. Jesus Christ, it was spreading like wildfire. Hi, ukuleleist. I hope you're having a good day. I hugged a few people, but no COVID. I'm glad to hear it. I also didn't get COVID from Amsterdam, but like literally, we had group chats and they were like, and I'm down with it, and I'm down with it, and I'm down with it. And it's like, oh God, when will it be me? Although it turns out I might have COVID now, but like, it wouldn't have been from TwitchCon. And actually, I don't know what it was from. I'm inside most of the time. Oh dear. I think I got it. I am invincible. Hecking invincible. You're also a ghost, right? Aren't ghosts like basically impervious to disease? COVID has a few days before ship to the show. Yeah, but TwitchCon was weeks ago. So like TwitchCon was what, 3 weeks ago? I think I might be out of the barrier for having got it from TwitchCon. If I did, my body was slow, and so was Shiny's because we both have fevers this morning. I think probably it was from the weekend. We did go to the house and we got it from that. Yellow cards, welcome on in. Oh, bless you. I hope you managed to get some sleep soon. Take care of yourself. Coming from abroad is an excuse with no vaccination information, since you need to get it from your country. That's true. That is true. I think masks is still easier for people to enforce and a lot quicker, but yeah. You don't hug people, you see the post of it. I hugged 2 people. I did that. And then no one else. I have to do it on my terms. 2 people. Oh dear. But yeah, I didn't get it from TwitchCon. I got it from something in this country, which also isn't very surprising. There's a lot of COVID in this country. There's the problem. But yeah, I didn't have COVID while I was at TwitchCon. I know that much. I had no symptoms. I was testing negative, so like, I wasn't the one that spread it. I promise. It wasn't me. Oh dear. I also wore a mask, to be fair. I couldn't do it when I was in the costume because I couldn't wear full face mask, but I did wear it on the Saturday. Yeah, so that probably helped. Ah. Oh dear, but yeah, so it seems like it was kind of a mess, and now they're gonna do it again. And in America, it's just gonna be a mass spreading event again. Like, the thing is, the real issue with this is that there will now be a group of people that won't physically be able to go because the safety isn't there for them. And that is people that are like disabled, immunocompromised, stuff like that. And it's really sad that now like that massive group of people can't go to the event because it is just no longer a safe place for them. Like, it wouldn't take long to say, or it wouldn't be difficult to enforce like just wearing masks to keep other people safe. And basically, when conventions take that away, when there is still a lot of sickness going around, it's basically like the conventions say they don't care about that group of people. And it is sad to see. I mean, I've talked about this before. how like easy it was for newspapers and like the news online or whatever to say things like, don't worry guys, it's only the disabled and immunocompromised that are dying. And it's like, well, that's okay. So what you're saying is, as long as it's a disabled person or an immunocompromised person dying, it doesn't matter, you know? And a lot of conventions are following that same policy where as long as it's, you know, someone considered less in society, like because you're disabled, you're less, it doesn't matter if you die, kind of thing. And as a disabled person myself, it is really sad to see. Like personally, thankfully, my kind of disability is not one that will be affected too much by COVID, but my heart really goes out to everyone who's basically, you know, has all these, they pay for tickets, they go to an event expecting safety and then has that taken away from them. Like it's really sad. And there'll be people that will say things like, well, we have to go back to normal at some point, but but like if all it takes for you is to wear a mask for a day, and that means that somebody who is terminally ill can go to that event, like, can you not do that? Can you not wear a mask for a day so somebody whose last chance it is to go to that event can go? Like, it's really sad. It's really, really sad. And obviously in this case, it's not a individual thing as much as it is the whole convention making that decision that people who have bought tickets, who are immunocompromised, who are disabled, who are high risk, that they are not important to Twitch. And yeah, it's a statement. It's a statement. To an extent, I could give them the benefit of the doubt on Amsterdam because, you know, we have had more conventions over here that are mask-free. Thank you so much, Sarah, for heckin' 21 months. Jesus, thank you so much. That's very heckin' kind of you. Welcome on back in. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, if it's like but once you see what happened at TwitchCon and the amount of people that got COVID from TwitchCon at Amsterdam, that should really set a precedent that you need to have something in place to stop people getting sick, not that you take that away. And yeah, it's sad. It's just really sad in my mind. I know obviously I'm putting out specific circumstances, but there will be people in those circumstances that are having these opportunities taken away from them, and it would be so easy to just not remove the mask policy. Like, it would be so easy. They already sold their tickets. They've already got people going. It'd be so easy to just not remove that policy, and they did it. Yeah. So when you see people who are upset about it, like, it's so justified, because I am not part of the affected party, and my heart goes out to everyone who now can't attend for reasons that are completely out of their control. Like, it is just really, really sad. And it really does just further the whole prerogative that disabled people or people who are immunocompromised are worth less to society. And I really don't think that is something we should be pushing, but that is what those kind of rules push, is that we are worth less, that we have less value than everybody else. And it's really sad. It's really, really sad to see a platform like Twitch doing that. Especially 2 days after Disability Awareness Month, 2 days after, they're out here highlighting disabled creators. They're out here talking about disabled creators just to make it so that none of them can attend their convention. Like really? You want to highlight us, you want to celebrate us, but when it comes to actually accommodating for us, no. Especially when it's not difficult, Twitch. It's really not. Oh dear, I was so careful with TwitchCon since I didn't want to infect my pregnant sis. So I saw the day before, guess what? Now she has COVID from her vaccination. Oh wait, like she got it when she went to get her vaccination? That's so unlucky. The universe has a strange sense of humor. It sure does. Why though? Normal was crap. I think you'll find I do matter. I mean, not in the eyes of the government, obviously, but I have a family and friends and I'm a human rights. And I'll be wearing a mask outdoors. But that's it. It's like, a lot of people genuinely believe that disabled people should not have the same human rights as everybody else. I mean, it's very, very upsetting. And I've talked about it extensively on this channel before, but like, I still think the stuff that I do is of high value, like that I can make high value pieces of work, high value pieces of costume making. When I'm supported correctly, I could be one of the best costume makers in the world, I think. With a few more years, I think I could be one of the best costume makers in the world. With the correct support. But there are a lot of people who don't receive support, whether it be from friends, family, whatever like that. and especially not the government and corporations, which means that they can't reach their potential. And it's not even considered that a disabled person could do something like that. You know, a lot of people talked about the costume I made for TwitchCon Amsterdam because they were so surprised that the person who made it was disabled. And like, not in a bad way, like it's really good that you can give people that experience, or that I could give people that experience. But a lot of people seem to think that because you're disabled, you just won't do things as well as other people. Like, no, actually, yes, there are things I can't do. Like, I can't leave the house easily on my own. I can't travel very far. I need a lot of help day to day as far as cooking and stuff like that. But I stand on the same stage as everybody else. And, you know, nobody would think that, yeah, I had a disability. I stand on the same stage as all the other able-bodied creators. And I'm up there. And in a few years, maybe I'll be a winner. And if you give people the right support, regardless of whether they're disabled or just have a chronic illness or, you know, something going on in their life, mental health issues, whatever, if you give people the right support, they can be on the same stage as everybody else, compete just as highly as everybody else. And yet, for some reason, our value is considered less because people can't be bothered to give that kind of support. It's really sad. It's just a really sad situation that I hope over the next few years does change. But we're just generally considered less by a lot of people. And a lot of the time it's not even conscious. It's just the subconscious, like, disabled people are worth less. Like, for instance, when all the news stories were saying things of taking people who are disabled off life support in favor of giving it to able-bodied people. Like, that happened. And it's awful. It's just awful. People were like, I can't breathe through a mask, and made 3-layer cotton masks while having asthma. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm over here with like the capacity of one lung. I can breathe through a mask just fine, and I've done it for years. People, it's not comfortable always, especially in the heat. I'm not going to be here and be like, oh, a mask is always 100% comfortable. It's not. Like, when you're in heat, it's not comfortable. But I do it because there are people around me who are immunocompromised, who are going through cancer treatments, who are having all of this stuff going on. And I don't want to be the reason that they end up in hospital, you know? And so because I care about the people around me, I wear a mask. It's not for me so much, because if I get COVID, I'll be fine. I'm not in a position where, well, I say I'll be fine. I expect I'll be fine. I'm not in a high risk category at this point. But yeah, people around me are, and there's no reason for me to make their lives so hard. I think there's only so many controversial TwitchCon decisions that can give them the benefit of the doubt, and it's no longer doubtful. Yeah, I mean, that is true. To be fair, I had a lot of people being affected at San Diego Comic-Con. The irony is that they did wear masks there, though it is quite possible people wore the kind of mask that protects them against others being affected, and kid with the mask protects himself. A combination of these can cause widespread. All the ones that protect yourself are to spread COVID, and the ones that protect yourself allow you to be infected yourself. Or others allow you to be infected yourself. Yeah, so I use the ones that protect others because it doesn't matter for me if I get COVID. And that is a personal choice. I get what you mean, and like, that's fine. But if, for instance, somebody is immunocompromised and they physically can't attend an event, if that isn't a policy going on there, why take that policy away? It makes no sense to me. Also, Mel, welcome on in. Thank you for the follow. It's very kind of you. You've joined doing a heated debate conversation. This reminded me as well, I was in Belgium and with my mum. There was a fair, but for 2 days during the first 2 hours, they reduced censor time with no loud musical sound effects. It was great for young dementia organisations to take their group there. Yeah, it's like, it's nothing that would necessarily affect able-bodied people. It's like a really small thing that just means that somebody else who normally wouldn't be able to attend your event can. And it's like, it's such a small thing. Most of what disabled people want are not big things. They're small things. Like, for instance, movie theaters. They will often do a screening with the lights on, specifically for people who struggle with flashing lights, for people who are maybe more mentally disabled, who struggle with being in a completely dark room, who get overstimulated very easily, stuff like that. They'll do screenings with the lights on, and you can buy tickets to lights on screenings. Now, does that affect all of the other screenings for people who don't have that issue? No, it doesn't affect them at all. But what it means is there are now extra groups of people who can go to the cinema. And it's like, it's a really positive thing. And it's like not bad for the cinema either, because those viewings are normally fully booked. Like, for people taking their younger kids who do get overstimulated more easily, for people who can't deal with flashing lights in a dark room. Like, it's really good stuff, and it doesn't affect anybody negatively. It's not asking for the world. It's good for the cinema as well because they get those extra bookings. I used to wear the kind of mask that protects others, but there are too many people ignoring mask regulations, so I chose me. Oh no, and I don't blame you at all. Like, that is absolutely fair. For me, I think, because bear in mind, most of it, the last 2 years I've been in work, I would do bra fittings for people, and you'd be really, really close to them, right? And I worked with a lot of cancer patients, people who are actively about to have surgery or had just had surgery, who may be going through chemotherapy still. And with that in mind, I would always choose that mask because I knew that if they gave me COVID, I'd be okay. If I gave them COVID, they might die. And it's like that difference, but it's a difference of situation, right? For you live with people who could, or like you're around people who can't afford to get COVID. For me, I can afford to get COVID, as can my household, but the people that I work with cannot. And that's the difference, right? It's like, it's a difference in circumstance. Like, I don't know why they would not do that. Won't they just make more money since more people, yeah. Like, it is just, this is really harsh language, and I don't like to be this harsh on people, to be quite honest, because I do like to give people the benefit of the doubt. But when you turn your mask, and this is the real issue, Twitch originally, TwitchCon, had a mask policy. It did. And they have now removed that mask policy. Less than a month, a couple months before the event, right? 2 months before the event. I think it's in October, early October. So they have now, when people have already bought tickets, removed the mask policy, removed the vaccination necessary policy. They removed that when people who are disabled have already, listen, as somebody who is also disabled, I plan so far in advance. Like, I have to book early. I have to get all my travel early. I have to spend nights overnight elsewhere because I can't travel very far in a day. And I get all that done very, very early. I get it sorted real early. That's why when people were like, oh, you're gonna book your hotel for Amsterdam, I booked that in like February. Like, I was booked well in advance because I also had to stay in London overnight and stuff like that so that we could break up the journey. Obviously not everybody is the same with me, but I know a lot of disabled people do have to plan pretty far in advance, especially if you're traveling with carers and things like that. It's just to make sure everybody is prepared nice and early and ready. Even as far as like getting medications ready to travel with, it takes quite a lot of extra steps that most people wouldn't have to deal with, right? So you do plan early. And I'd expect a lot of people who are now disabled and reading that, or specifically people who are immunocompromised and reading that, are like, I've got my tickets, I've got my travel, but it is no longer safe for me to attend this event. Not because it would be impossible to get COVID with all of the precautions, but because the precautions aren't being followed, it's now actively a dangerous event for them. Yeah. And before it was something maybe, I mean, you know, I can only speak for myself really, but like for me, I do try to not do things that are going to be an active detriment to my health most of the time. But if I think there's a way that I can do something, or I can get around something, whether it be by taking medication or getting assistance, I will do that. I will do that because I still want to live a life, right? I still want to live a good life. Even if there are certain things I can't do, I still want to, you know, do as much as I can, right? And I think a lot of probably other people feel the same way. Like, TwitchCon would be risky for a lot of people, even with the mask policy and the vaccination policy, but people will justify it to themselves because they're like, oh, this, you know, if people are wearing masks, I can social distance myself, I can keep myself safe, you know, cool, I can go. And now that they've taken that out, that justification isn't there anymore. It is now just a dangerous event. Yeah. Again, I can kind of only speak for myself on how I would approach that, but from Twitter, it looks like a lot of other people are in very similar positions, where it is now just an actively dangerous event for them that they have ticket for and they can go. Or they have, no, I don't know if they have a ticket for it, they have travel for is what I'm more seeing. But that makes sense because the travel is more expensive for most people. But they have travel for and they can't go. Yeah. And again, if Twitch is here, it is, when you take a mask policy away, when people are expecting it to be there or have already been told to expect it to be there, when you take that away, you are just saying that you don't care if disabled people attend your event. They are not worth as much as the other attendees to you. And before you celebrate your disabled creators, maybe that's something you should address, because making such a bold statement against the people that would want to go, who are from the disabled or immunocompromised communities, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. If there had never been any expectation of a mask policy, it'd be different maybe. It'd still be pretty bad, honestly, from Twitch, but it would be different. But no, to take that away 2 months before, you deserve backlash for that. Oh dear, right, serious rant out the way. It's difficult because it's like I feel very, very strongly about, like, I've spoke to a lot of terminally ill people in my job. I've spoke to people going through cancer every single day when I was there, and people would so look forward to these events as like a small bright thing in their life when they're going through one of the most hard experiences someone has to ever go through. People look forward to these events so much, and I know if any of the people, like the customers that I helped, were to have gone to TwitchCon, they would all have to cancel now, every single one, because of that policy change. And it's just really sad. It's just really, really sad. Twitch never explicitly stated the mask vaccination, but all they said they would follow the Dutch government would say is required. Yeah, I thought that might maybe be the case, in that people would hope that it was happening, but if the rest of the country didn't have it, then yeah. You should feel strongly. It's been a long, hard struggle for disabled people to get human rights, and COVID just undid so much hard work. Of course, it doesn't prevent them from setting regulation themselves. Yeah, just because, well, the thing is as well, as far as the Dutch government goes, I imagine the rules are not specifically for conventions or very, very busy places. I'm sure they encompass them, but I think most of the rules are just for day-to-day living, right? Which, okay, no masks day-to-day, fair enough. I feel the same way about the UK when they took it away from large events. I do feel like there should have been some policy for large events. Like, if you keep day-to-day masks off, okay, fine, people make their own decisions, because people can keep themselves safe day-to-day. But when it comes to events that it would be nice for everybody to attend, yeah, you know? It would be nice to maybe at least have that masked and vaccinated. But it's not a law over here, clearly not a law in the Netherlands, and it doesn't sound like it's a law in America either. And it is just, once again, disabled people don't mean anything. Like, we're not important. We are lower in the pecking order than everybody else. I mean, I don't mean this on like a one-to-one basis. Like, you know, if you had 3 sisters and one of them was disabled, they'd be less than you. I mean more in like a big government, big organization kind of way. And to be fair, there is some background bias, but it's mainly like, because there were a lot of people during the pandemic saying things like, it's only the disabled people dying, and to literally disabled people. Like, maybe don't say that. But you know, it is what it is. It's sad, but the most we can do is like speak out about it and be like, please don't use my death as, you know, a good thing. I feel very creepy about that, honestly. It makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. Last year, a lot of people that went back to the norm have been struggling with human rights that are basically going backwards now. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I don't want to say that the disabled group is the only one having it. Like, it's been a rough time where it really felt like an order of importance was established, and on who is it most important that survives, and it's, yeah, I wish that had never happened, like, so much, because it's so depressing to see yourself low down in the pecking order, and I'm not even at the bottom. There are people who will be lower down in that pecking order than me, and even from where I stand, it's been really, really sad to see. Like, yeah, people just disregard your life, like with nothing. Like they just disregard it like it's nothing, and it's really, really sad. Really, really sad. Separate between large gatherings like conventions or football games and smaller things like pubs or something. Like, yeah, don't specifically specify anything for disabled people, but might also be a government level where you want to cater to the masses and not specifically for every single subgroup. I get that, yeah. I think, don't specify for disabled. That's not why it's happening, but like, yeah, have it so that, because listen, people going to large gatherings already wear crazy get-ups, right? Adding a mask to it wouldn't be that different. You know, people go to football games in chicken costumes. Like, why not a mask? But yeah, I agree in that there should be some distinction. If they're going to do it. Not, like, listen, personally, I wear a mask all the time. I leave the house and I'm wearing a mask. I wear a mask on buses, I wear a mask on trains, I wear a mask everywhere. But the difference would be that there would be ways for me to avoid people when traveling from A to B, or avoid more people, like for instance getting a taxi and stuff like that. It doesn't make areas inaccessible for me.
No,
But
that's a lot of damage.
thank you for the damage, Cooper. But large events will become inaccessible to people without those policies. Yeah. And that's sad. It's sad. Thing is, they wouldn't have to specify it's for disabled people. In fact, I think it's probably better if they don't, because a lot of people have just general grudges against the disabled community. Don't mention that it's for the disabled, because people will be like, oh, them again. Requesting human rights, how dare they? Probably best not to mention that it's specifically for the disabled and immunocompromised. Oh dear. Instead, maybe just have it so that, like, you know, events having more than, say, 100 people or 200 people or something, there is a mask mandate. Don't mention why, just that it's there. Oh dear. Wow. Problem is the government want to leave it up to businesses. The businesses want to do the bare minimum. Yeah, once again, there is kind of, I think, an idea as well that if you have some kind of mask mandate that, or like vaccination mandate, that less people will attend your event. And you're right, anti-vaxxers won't attend your event. Why am I being valued as less than an anti-vaxxer? Oi, oi! Something seems wrong here. Why is my value less than someone who is against vaccinations? I don't understand. It makes no sense. How dare you that be treated the same way as an able? I know, right? Crazy. What a shame. The anti-vaxxers don't want to come, to be fair. I wouldn't want anti-vaxxers to attend my event. Well, that's the crazy thing, though. Yo! Listen up!
Here's a story.
This is absolutely crazy. Somehow I am valued as less than an anti-vaxxer. Seas is just blue, like him, inside and outside. Blew his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette. And everything is blue for him and himself and everybody around. 'Cause he ain't got nobody to listen to. Yeah, I'm blue, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die. I'm blue, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die, dabba-dee dabba-die. Tough break, I know, right? It's like, can I send that to Twitch? When you say that you don't care if people are vaccinated, you value me less than an anti-vaxxer. Twitch? Response? Twitch? How do you feel about that, Twitch? Oh, I should be careful diving into political kind of subjects when I literally have a fever. I'm gonna say something unforgivable if I'm not careful. Or at least maybe unforgivable to Twitch. Maybe not so much you guys, but Twitch maybe, since, you know, they love anti-vaxxers. Oh dear. Hashtag Twitch loves anti-vaxxers confirmed. I think it's specifically reasoning masks aren't required anymore is because here the main can't try and cause a lot less severe symptoms. Potentially. That could also potentially be it. Unfortunately though, that is only the case really for the able-bodied still, right? Because we also have some strains that are a lot less dangerous to the majority of people, like the one that I might have right now. But then that's fine, right? Because it's only the disabled people going to hospital. This is what I mean in like it's good, and I'm glad that there are less intense strains happening right now, because like obviously that's a good thing, and that's something that we want. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, that's a bad thing, that's terrible. Like that's not the case. But like the people that suffer are the same people, you know? It's the reasoning is still so ableist. And like, I don't like cracking open the ableism word too much, to be quite honest, but the reasoning is that we can take away the mask policy because the only people that are suffering are disabled. Which is just blanket ableism. Like, there's no way around that. That's literally just ableism. It's literally just saying we don't care if disabled people die. That's not our priority. I also, I should say, yeah, don't worry, say, I know that I know you are not the Dutch government. You're all good. You're safe, you're safe. You are not the Dutch government, nor are you Twitch. Oh dear. When will the wedding be? Oh, this is not my wedding dress. My wedding dress is gonna be so hecking simple. No beading, no custom embroideries, none of that. Simple bean dress. Also, the wedding is next October. So I have over a year anyway. Oh dear, let's get some lumps around the corner. And then... yeah, don't worry, Zay. I at no point think that it is like Zay is creating the, what do you call it? The rules. I don't, though if you are. Oh dear. Right. And then let's get some of this in there around the stomach hole. And might even do some little beading trains along the stomach hole. Since I have this new embroidery technique I want to use, it's perfect. Is the dress made of ice? No, it's made of crystals. Crystals. But you know what? They basically look the same, so I can get it. Ah, dear. No, I meant Twitch and anti-vaxxers since they love each other so much. Oh my god, can we get some fan art of Twitch marrying anti-vaxxers? I'd love that. I'd love that. Wait, have I missed like Jenny's getting married? I am. I mentioned it the other day on stream because I figured I wasn't going to be able to tell people what the next costume was for a while. I mentioned it and I think everybody thought I was joking. So I was like, okay. Sure, that's fine. You can all think I'm joking if you want. I won't take it personally or anything. Sniff, sniff. Oh dear. It is true, it is true. Oh my god, congrats, thank you. I haven't got my ring because it's downstairs and who's calling me? Is it the anti-vaxxers? 2 seconds. Sorry for putting you in silence there. I didn't want the music to come through. Oh my god. Speaking of people being a pain. Oh dear. I was muted. Just me and my mouth moving. Sorry about that. Hi, Emily. Oh dear. Yeah, the Anti-Vax Association. Oh my god, thank you for the congratulations, by the way. Basically, that was the jury service saying that they can defer me, but that I'd have to do it within 12 months. And I was like, what do you do for people in this case then? Because a lot of people don't get better in 12 months. And like, I am definitely not expected to get better in 12 months. And they were like, well, that's just the procedure we have to follow. We can't do a second deferral. And I was just like, but I've been disabled for 6 years. What do you want me to do? Like, you can tell me I have to be there on Monday, but like, first of all, bear in mind I just got COVID, but like, you can tell me I have to be there on Monday, but like, I can't do that. Like, and like, I'd already sent them the email explaining it, saying I could give them any doctor's documentation they needed. Like, I literally have it from a neurologist that I am disabled by migraines. Like, I could give you all of that. And they were like, can you go down the doctor's and pick it up? And I said, no, because I've got COVID. Like, what do you want me to do? I've given you weeks and weeks and weeks to tell me all of this. And now you tell me that I've got COVID. Ah! Like, you have to be there on Monday? What are you talking about? Flotil! They told me I was my time to do jury service, which normally I'd actually be kind of excited about, but the thing is you have to be able to say that you're going to be there every day for at least 10 days. And because I have migraines like nearly every other day, that's not something that right now I can do. And I would like to do it, honestly. In the future, I'd love to do jury service. But at the moment, I'm just not well enough to do a 9 till 5, 10 days in a week. Like, oh, sorry, 10 days in a row, even. And yeah, I explained all this to them, and I told them, I gave them all the document stuff. I told them that weeks ago. I gave them all my doctor's notes so that they could see that I wasn't making it up, and this is just how it is. And this is basically how migraines are treated. In a government way. So government in the UK does not see migraines as a disability, even if the doctors do. So my doctor diagnosed me with disabling migraines, chronic migraines lasting more than 16 days of a month. But the government doesn't see that as a disability. So you can't very easily get any kind of, like, I've applied for PIP and been told that because of my migraines I will not receive PIP. And which is the disability benefit system in the UK. And even though I gave them a form saying my neurologist says that I am disabled by the migraines, it doesn't count as a disability in the UK. So yeah, you're always just kind of considered somebody who's probably faking it to get out of something, and that's just the standard. Is like, if you have chronic migraines, you're just faking it. You just don't want to do stuff. And it used to upset me a lot. Like a few years ago, I was in a very different state with it, with the fact that all of my doctors had told me that I was disabled and I wouldn't ever be able to get a benefit for it. But I also was at the same time classed as unfit for work. I was told, which was against my will, but that was more to do with some mental health issues than it was. But this was a thing. My mental health was at crisis point, to the point where I was forced to become unfit for work. And I had it on documentation that I was already disabled by my migraines, and yet I cannot receive a single benefit. I have my partner, my fiance now, classed as my carer on all my documentation with my doctors, so that they know that there's someone who can look after me, since I'm not physically able to look after myself a lot of days. He cannot get carer's benefits because I am not on a disability allowance. And I also can't get anything to help me travel. I'm not allowed to drive. I'm not allowed to drive on documentation. That's not allowed. And yet I cannot get any kind of bus pass. That is just how chronic migraine is treated over here. It's really kind of screwed up, because like, you can have every single piece to say and defend your case, and you really, really hard to get any benefits. One of my friends who has chronic migraines did just manage to get on benefits. It took her 3 or 4 years of constant fighting, and that's for one person. She did take it to court, and she had to go multiple times, and if she couldn't go, it was delayed, which meant that it took her, and like, she was in the same situation as me. I can't attend a court on a date specifically very easily, and especially not if it's days in a row, because I won't have the medication to cover it. And yeah, it's a really hard situation to be in, because you're basically disabled with something that nobody recognizes, and so you're kind of just treated as a consistent faker, and there's nothing you can really do about that. Like, that's just how migraines are perceived. It's another thing that's really, really sad is like, I can't cook for myself most of the time. I can't always wash myself very easily. Like, I need help with a lot of things, like leaving the house and getting around, but I am not disabled, according to the government. I don't require a carer, according to the government, even though more days of the week I can't cook for myself or make food. It is what it is. That was a good pain. It is. Man, the only person I know who wants to do jury service, and I've never been asked. I know, I really do want to do it, but I'm not able to. Only for the severe cases. I doubt I would want to be in one, just what I might get to see and hear. Honestly, most of the people I know that's on jury service, it's like parking tickets. It's nothing very exciting. Mela, it is insane. It's absolutely insane. But that's it. Congratulations. Thank you. Did he speak to a lawyer who deals with these cases? A friend of mine got a master's in law because he had to deal with PIP himself and his girlfriend due to ME, and they did not see as disabled. Yeah, so you can take yourself to court. The thing is, and this is the really like cruel bit of PIP. So what happens with PIP is, also apologies if I sound a bit emotional. I have a fever right now. I'm okay. But what happens with PIP is you make your application and you see somebody in person, or they come to your house, depending on what you're able to do. You speak through all the things you are able to do and that you're not able to do, and how your disability affects you. They then pass that information that you've given on to somebody else who wasn't in the animation for you. Personal independence payments is what PIP is. They send it to somebody else who wasn't in the interview to assess separately, and they make a decision. You then get a document. If I can find it, I'm happy to show it to you. They give you a document back saying whether or not what they believe, considering what you've said. So they will literally write out as, you said you struggle to make food for yourself every day. We have decided you don't struggle. And they do that with every single point. Or say, self, welcome on in. I hope you're having a good day. So what you get is, for instance, and there are lots and lots of points, you get a full document back saying, you said you struggle to leave the house on your own multiple days a week. We have decided that you don't struggle to leave your house. And you'll get that. And if you don't score enough points based on that, then you do not get PIP. So I scored 0 points on my PIP assessment, even though I have scars and documentation from the doctors to say when I have tried to cook with a migraine, I've hurt myself, even though I have a neurologist documentation saying that I suffer with disabling migraines, even though I have documentation to say that I was forced to leave work and that because of my disability, and that also I am not able to drive because of my disability. I have given them all that documentation, and they have given me back that I do not suffer with migraines, basically. And so you get that back. If you are applying for PIP, heads up, it's very, very damaging to your mental health. At least it was for me, and it is for a lot of other people as well. The way that they word it is frankly quite cruel. It is in a way that's basically to get everything out as shorthand as possible. But when you read it as someone who is suffering, it's really hard. The first time I read it, I could not stop crying, because it just felt like they looked at me and decided that I was lying about everything. After that, you can choose to appeal it. If you choose to appeal it, you have to attend court on specific days set out for you, which is so hard for most disabled people to do. And if you can't attend those court dates, your case will be dropped. So I looked at this as someone, at the time, I had no pain preventative at all, so I couldn't choose the days where I could go. Like, I couldn't save medication at the time because I had none, right? I had none that worked. And so I looked and I was like, they're going to tell me to come on these specific days, and I already know I won't be able to make all those days. I already know. Like, there's no way. So I never appealed because physically it would have been impossible for me to appeal because of my disability. And so the PIP process is pretty cruel in this country. Yeah. That's how it's handled, not by the government, by a private company, and that's even worse. Yeah. Well, I thought parking cases are judged. Now I know people that have sat on like parking disputes. No point, in case they wanted you to do more homework. I'll let myself out. Goodbye, Floater. Now, bless you, you're good. And Morrigue, welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Sounds like you need a lawyer just to reply. So there are organizations that you can get help from to help write and back you up. You have to pay for them. And as somebody who had no income and no benefits, that's not something I can afford. I can't afford to defend myself in court like that and have the associations that help people with PIP. I don't have that money to do that. And so that's not something that I can do. The problem here is you suffer from mental health issues and try to get PIP because you're quite depressed. Mental health get much worse and you can't argue or fight. Yeah. PIP is such a dangerous benefit in that if you can get it, it's great. Just as a heads up, about 15% of people apply for PIP get PIP without having to take it to court. 15%. And like, I'm just gonna put it out there, most people who apply for those kind of benefits are not trying to fake it just for money. Like, bear in mind as well, PIP is not enough to live on. It is something to help you so that you can maybe go out and experience things, but it's not something you can live on. And like, all I was asking was basically so that I could get PIP, so that I could get a travel card for disability, because I know that the only way I can ever travel is if I get help from people or if I catch buses or trains, and it's expensive and it adds up, and because I am on no income, it's not something that I could do. Like, it put me in a position where I never had the money to leave the house. And they saw me and they said not disabled, even though I gave them a piece of paper from a neurologist to say that I was disabled. So if you apply for PIP, please bear in mind that it can have really, really big effect on your mental health in a negative way. Like, if you're in the UK, because I don't think PIP is, I think it's probably something different in different countries, but in the UK it's PIP. It is really hard to get benefits from PIP. And you will probably have to appeal it, to be quite honest. Only if you are in a wheelchair or if you have a visible disability like that. And even then, they will give you the lowest end of the spectrum most of the time. Like, you will get the smallest payments possible. And yeah, I would recommend people to go for it because it is a benefit that you could take as a disabled person, but it is something you want to bear in mind ahead of time, that it will be potentially quite damaging to your mental health. It is a very nasty benefit. So yeah, sorry, we've talked a lot about disability today. I know it doesn't really affect a lot of people in the chat, so I'm sorry about that. This is just, if you're curious, this is how disabled people are treated, at least in the UK. It's you kind of get like there's like so many stereotypes about disabled people, that they're just lazy or they just don't want to do things, they just want to live off benefits. It's just not the case. The way disabled people are treated in the UK is cruel in a lot of circumstances, and in the UK it's actually worse than a lot of other countries, and here's why. We have really old infrastructure in the UK, infrastructure that would never have ramps and stuff like that in it. As somebody who worked as basically making adjustments for old buildings, that was like what my degree was in, was renovating older buildings, basically ones that wouldn't have had anything for disability people like support in them. The council will say you can repair the roof, you can change the walls, but you cannot add ramps. We do not want that because it will look ugly on the outside of a building. Which means there are thousands of interesting archaeological sites, interesting older buildings, historical buildings that disabled people do not get access to because it looks ugly. There's a whole high street in Wales which is completely inaccessible by wheelchair, and they will not change it because it's ugly. It costs money. We're not doing that. We're not changing it so the disabled people can actually access the shops. And then what will happen is those people will go to apply for benefits because they can't do the food shopping themselves, and they will get nothing. Like, it's, yeah. It's really cruel. The way that disabled people are treated in general, it's incredibly cruel, and nobody really, I guess, looks at it, because I guess unless it affects you, why would you, right? I don't mean that in a bad way, and like you should be looking into it, but like unless somebody tells you what it's like living as a disabled person in this country, like you wouldn't know. I didn't know. I had no idea it was this bad. Ah, dear. It makes me angry, and I'm not going to try to say anymore. No, it makes me really angry too, honestly. I'm not an angry person, and it upsets me so much. We have something called Joe's Locked In, which is a government organization to help people with a certain income level with lawyer stuff. Yeah. Yeah. There are things in this country that are there to help disabled people find work and stuff like that, but not if you can't work at all. Ah, dear. Wow, thank you, government, again, with no medical degree or training for deciding that someone is not disabled against the advice of actual medical professional. Yeah. The thing is, a nurse or a doctor will do your interview, but they are not the one who makes the decision. That's the other thing. Nurses and doctors do the interviews for Pip, but they're not the ones who get the final say. Ah, crazy. Here's all the paperwork from professionals saying I'm disabled. You're not disabled. It wasn't even that. For me, I got told that I had 0 issues with everyday living. 0. Absolutely none. And like, I had so much documentation because I knew it was going to be hard. And I knew that I wouldn't probably be able to take it to court. So I took everything with me. I gave them so much paper. I think I gave them like a 40-page document on like what was happening with me, with all of my diagnoses, with all of the damage that I'd done to myself because I hadn't had support, and as well as of course stuff from literally there are neurologists in Wales who specialise in migraines. I had them. I had the neurologist that specialises in migraines because I asked for him. But yeah, it wasn't just from even any neurologist. It was from the neurologist in Wales who specialised in migraines. Nothing. Ah, dear. And like, I also suffer not only with migraines, but I have hallucinations. I was having a mental health crisis at the time. So like, don't just take this for migraines. I had literally been forced to leave my job as unfit for work because I had a full mental health crisis. Which again is all in documentation that I could give them. I was forced into therapy at very short notice because I had a mental health crisis. I was having like daily phone calls to check up on me, all of which I gave to them. So like, don't just take this for migraines. If you're going for mental health as well, which I did at the time, go for mental health as well. I did mention everything that had happened to me as far as having been forced to leave my job. I was suffering with mental health, 0. They said my struggle with depression, 0. And I had literally, I was like 1 step away from being sectioned. Like, my options were be sectioned or receive phone calls every day. Like, that's quite as bad as it got. And I was told that I was not suffering with any mental health problems. Not to mention that I'm literally autistic. Like, I will say that I wasn't going for Pip with that. Like, that's not something that I was struggling with to a point of being disabled, right? But like, even if you're saying that you can't somehow prove that I was suffering with depression at the time, you can't say you can't say nothing. Oh my god. So yeah, that was my experience with Pip. One day I might apply for Pip again because there are so many things that I would benefit from with Pip, and now that I have a pain medication that means that I could potentially attend court for at least 1 day a week, like, I would maybe go. Oh, but yeah. Oh dear, there's a small fee that's negligible in the grand scheme of things, especially if your case where they demand the other party pay for everything if they found them wrong. You can also get your fee back. Yeah, see, that's okay. That's okay. That's manageable. I know someone who has a disability and gets payments but literally has to go to appointments every year to prove. Yeah, that's the other thing is people will have permanently lose their leg and have to go back every year to prove it. Basically, there was the idea that a lot of people were using disability benefits as fraud and like just to get extra benefits and stuff like that. And so they cracked down to a point where actually disabled people could no longer get the benefit and had to prove it every single year. It's very dehumanizing, honestly. Don't forget that the nurse or whatever does the interview only sees you for an hour or so, so they make a judgment on how you look at the moment. Yeah, so for me, and I would recommend this to anyone applying for PIP, don't go on your own. I went with somebody because it proves that even if you can go on your own, that there are days that you can't. And so I went on a day where I was actually having a migraine. Like, I did have Shiny speak for me quite a lot of the day, because I find that speaking does make the migraine feel worse. So early on in the interview, I asked if it would be okay if Shiny answered more of the questions, because I was currently suffering with a migraine and I was struggling to speak a little bit, but also mainly it was just hurting to speak. And they said that was fine, absolutely fine. So Shiny actually spoke a lot for me during that. And then the question, can Jelly speak for herself? 100%. You've had an hour interview where I have barely spoken. So yeah, it's like that. It is like that. I couldn't have gone in under better circumstances. As much as I never normally wish to have a migraine, I couldn't have gone in under much better circumstances, and I was still told that I had no issues. They're quite a bit more lenient with me since I won an appeal already. That's good. UK is pretty abysmal for how they deal with disability. I asked my friend with a law degree and the jury duty, and he won't answer until he gets back from break or is home. Basically, people with bird brains decide what you are even. Yeah, if you're going to assessment, you have to go on your worst day. If you're even really having a good day, forget about it. Yeah. And I went on it wasn't my worst day because I was able to get there, but I went on a pretty bad day where I wasn't speaking very well, and Shiny did a lot of the speaking for me. And yeah. No, I have no issue speaking for myself, actually. According to the assessment, absolutely fine. It's like, I refused to do the walk in a straight line test for them because and like the nurse as well was like, you can do it if you want, but we won't do it if you're not feeling well up to it. So I didn't do it because I really wasn't feeling very well. I was quite nauseous and I just didn't want to have to like be standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down. I was told I was fine to walk in a straight line. I could walk unaided. And I was just like that. I was physically told by the nurse that I didn't have to do it because I was so unwell. What do you mean I can walk unaided? This is like every single situation where I bring it up, it's like, you know, that there should have been something. Even if I didn't receive enough points to receive the benefit, to get 0 points, it's like, you saw me on a bad day and you can see that I can't do anything. You can see that I'm struggling, that I'm barely in the room. You turn the lights off in the room because I was literally, my eyes were watering because I was struggling so much for it. And yet somehow I've ended up being told that I don't need anything. Like, I'm fine, daily walking around, that's all good. You prove right then and there that you weren't able to speak for yourself. If your interviewer said that, well, yes, they are lying. They lied about a lot of things, and that's why you take it to court. But if you're not physically well enough to take it to court, they don't care if they can lie about you. And so the statistics when I went, just for some idea, the people that applied for PIP, only about 15% of people got PIP first time without having to take it to court. Of the people that take it to court, 75 to 80% of people won their case. "75 to 80% of people that can take it to court win their case for PIP. Like, you have really bad odds of getting PIP without taking it to court, but if you can take it to court, you have really good odds. And that's obviously not even counting for people like me who are literally too disabled to go to court. Like, there are plenty of people like me who are too disabled to like say, yes, we can go on this day. 100%, I can go on this day. I can't do that. I can never do that. And so potentially people who will probably have a different disability to me, to be honest, but they can take it to court and they can get it. The reason it took my friend so long was because she had to keep cancelling and then reapplying. Because if you cancel too many times, they get rid of your application. When in reality, you're just too sick to attend a normal event, which is exactly why we need PIP in the first place. It's like, they absolutely lie about you. 100%. Like, I have that I can use like a knife to make a sandwich or something like that every single day. I have literal doctor's documentations to say that when I do that, I hurt myself and thus I can't do it. Like, it is just a straight up lie. They just straight up lie about you. And then you take it to court and you win. But if you're not well enough to take it to court, then you just have to go. Yeah, it's when I say that the system is cruel, I really mean it. It's an incredibly cruel system. And I am by no means the only person in this situation. I'm not even the only person that you know in this situation. Like, if you speak to people who have applied for PIP and ask if any of them if they had a good experience, any of them, I think even if they get it the first time, the answer will be no. It is dehumanizing. It is cruel. They lie. They force you to do things that they know are outside of your ability range so that they can get away with not giving you anything. It is literally taking advantage of disabled people at the highest degree, and it is the government system that is meant to help disabled people. Yeah, anyway, that's my rant about PIP. There you go. Have a look. I have a fever right now, and I blame anything that I said on the fever. Good job, Jelly. Good excuse. Heck yeah. Nailed it. Oh dear. I insist on recording the interview. They're banking on people being too ill to go to court. Yeah. I mean, next time maybe I shouldn't record the interview. I will go for it again at some point. I just need to be a little bit... Like, this is the sucky bit. I need to be a little bit weller to attempt PIP again. Like, how messed up is that? Like, to attempt PIP again, I need to be in a slightly better place, because the place where I'd have to go is a little far away, and I just don't think I'll be able to make it right now. Like, how fucked is that? Like, actually. That is true. Someone said severe depression. I don't have the energy to appeal either. I let it go, and the first time since it didn't hurt me too much. But when it was literally put me on a street, I did appeal. I did leave as much as possible to the lawyer, so they did most of the work. Yeah. When I was suffering with mental health really, really bad. My mental health was, well, I was literally in a crisis position, right? Where I was forced to do certain things because I would be sectioned. So I was in a really, really bad place with my mental health. Like, I don't think you could get much worse, quite honestly. And when I got that back from PIP, I was so lucky to be going through therapy at the time, because I was inconsolable. Absolutely inconsolable. It's a terrible situation, it is. And again, I just want to stress, this is not an isolated event. Most people who apply for PIP, not Twitch. Most people who apply for PIP get put in the same position that I was in. So it is not like a little isolated incident. This is just how disabled people are treated. And it's really fucked up, and it's really cruel, and honestly, something needs to be done about it, because I don't think it would be an underestimate to say that it kills people. The fact that PIP puts people in such mental health crises that it is actually dangerous. And it is meant to be the system that helps people. Even if you're not specifically a disability advocate, if you're a mental health advocate, if you care about that kind of stuff, maybe have a little look into PIP. Because you could see the way that a government is absolutely failing people going through mental health crises, as well as people going through just general disability as well, in a really nice, concise form. Yeah, it's very sad, a lot of the stuff that's happened because of PIP, but if you have a curiosity, look into it. It's bad, and it's a very sad topic that I won't linger on too long. Ah, dear. They decide if they were wrong and want the money back, and they will literally stalk you and drag you through the mud in court. Yeah. I really hope in the future the whole thing will be better for everyone. Oh, me too. Absolutely me too. I hope so much that it will be better for everyone. Because the stories you hear and the sad situations it causes, it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. My friend's experience, and they did go to court and won. The main reason was he went and got his master's degree of law. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I won. Last reevaluation, I noticed they are more careful on how seriously they take me. Yeah. I hope that we could follow something similar over here in the UK, that looking at the way the government is going, we are not a priority. The disabled are never a priority. And so I don't really see it happening anytime soon. All I can say is, if you've gone through PIP and you want to talk about it with somebody, I'm more than happy to like rub your back and try and make you feel a bit better. If you're going through PIP, prepare yourself mentally. When you are going to open the letter from PIP that they send you, have family around you, or friends, or something. Or if you want to get in a Discord call, I'll get in a Discord call. Like, I'm fine to do that, honestly. because it's really rough. And like, even if Pip doesn't believe you, I'll believe you. Save dog seekers, yeah. I know someone that tried to get money back and say you're lying about disabilities, and it gave her PTSD. Yeah, it's the way that they treat people. I cannot describe how bad it is. Like, how absolutely they do not treat you like a human. You are treated like not an animal they despise. It's so bad. In myself, and it's highly unlikely that I would qualify for benefits because of how complicated the situation is. I can't get a proper diagnosis. I could put on a form. I believe you, Echo, but yeah, if you don't have it on a form, they will not. They will not. It's awful. They won't. Even if you could get the doctors to say that something is disabling you without a diagnosis, without having a name for it, you're screwed. The Prime Minister, do it, Cthulhu! Do it! Cthulhu for PM! Heck yeah! The big problem lies in how many people play the system and apply for benefits when they're still completely healthy. That's what caused this in the first place, is people claiming they're disabled when they actually weren't. But I also think the UK government took a very harsh approach to it by claiming that a lot more people were doing that than actually there was, right? And then the repercussions of it have been solely taken out on people that are actually struggling. And this has been a complaint for over 10 years here in the UK on how this has been done and how this situation has been handled. And it has not been heard. It has not been heard at all. But that reason is exactly why someone with chronic migraines will really struggle to get disability benefits, though. Because bear in mind, people with migraines are already considered to be fakers who just don't want to, like, go to work. Like, there's already such a negative stigma around people with migraines that we're just doing it to get out of school, or we're just doing it to get out of work. And people do use migraines to, like, they'll say, like, oh, I'm having a migraine, I have to go home, when they're absolutely fine. Which is my main bugbear, is people that do that. I have had people say it to my face that they're just gonna tell the manager they're having a migraine like I am to get out of work. And it's people that do that that make it impossible for people that are disabled by their migraines like me to actually get any benefits. Because while there is such a stigma around migraines being just used to fake and like get out and skip school or skip work or skip a social event or whatever it is that you're using to skip, while migraine has literally no weight in a conversation, people like me will never get benefits. People like me will never be able to live like with assistance, never get the support that we need. Because when people still say, oh, I don't want to go to that social event, I'll just tell them I'm having a migraine, you're literally using my disability to get out of an event. And it's really creepy. From my point of view as the person who is disabled with it, it's really creepy. But also from like how it actually affects us, it means people are less likely to believe me. Like when you lie about having migraines, people are less likely to believe me, someone who is actually disabled by their migraines. And it has such a like snowball effect, and it has had such a snowball effect for such a long time that people with migraines are just not believed. Like kids who go to school and start getting migraines are not given any supportive like education because they're just seen as people like spunking like class. They're just getting out, right? And when in reality most kids who suffer with migraines it's very obvious. It's honest. I've heard people being told, like accused of sticking their fingers down their throat to make themselves sick so that it looks more like they have a migraine. Like, it's crazy. And these people are people that are literally in the moment suffering. I cannot imagine somebody coming up to me and being like, you faked throwing up then. You did that to yourself. And like what? Like what? It's the way people with migraines are treated. Even like, obviously all people with disabilities are treated rubbish, but when your disability isn't even seen as a disability, when it's used as like to get out of things by other people, when it's not given any weight, it makes it really, really hard for you to get anything or any support. I've been very, very fortunate that my workplaces have been, first of all, there have been other people working there before me that had chronic migraines. So that when I applied or when I went there and started getting chronic migraines, that it was understood to an extent and that I didn't need to explain what was happening. They do, of course, still ask for documentation since I have to take extra sickness than other people. But like, that's a very normal thing and I'm okay with doing that. And as soon as I gave the documentation, all of my sicknesses were written off as migraines and it was very easy for me. But like, that's how it should be. Most people don't get that benefit. Most people are forced to leave their work, put on endless probation. People at school do not get the full education that their other classmates get because they're just seen as fakers. It's not seen as that important. Like a migraine, that's just a headache. Like you shouldn't be leaving class for that. And it's really sad. Things have been getting better. There've been a lot more education about migraines, especially in schools when a lot of people start to get migraines. Like it's really common once you become a teenager that's when your migraines might start, around that time, like early teens, pre-teens. And there is a lot more education in schools now to get support out to those kids so that they can leave classes without having to worry about getting behind. But it's still got a ways to go. It's worse when a medical professional accuses you of lying because they're the people you expect to be the most educated about disabilities and mental health. Yeah, like I know with my neurologists and stuff like that they're fine, they're great, but I can't contact them on a phone call. I have to rely on my GP. And my GP is less than reliable. They'll always say like what my diagnosis is, and then they'll give zero context. So it looks like I just have migraines, and it's like once every now and again, which is just not the case. It's just not the case. But you know what? I had been meaning to ring them anyway, so I can give them a call tomorrow morning and chase out that referral too. Oh dear. It is hard. I think one of the hardest bits about having migraines is the not being believed. It used to get me really badly. Now it doesn't get me so much. When someone's like, I don't think it's that bad. I'm like, okay, mate. And then you wish the migraine upon them. You send them the curse of a migraine. Honestly, you only have to have one migraine and you know how bad they are. That is one of the better things about migraines, is it is something that anybody can experience. And yeah, you really only have to have one. Once you've had one migraine, you know what they're like. And a lot of people have had one migraine. Whether it be due to stress or not sleeping well or stuff like that, because all these could be triggers. It could be hormonal even. Like people could get pregnant and then start having migraines, right? But a lot of people have had one migraine. And once you tell someone, yeah, that one migraine you have, every other day, at least, they kind of get an idea of why you might be disabled. Oh dear. That is the one fortunate thing about migraine. When you explain what specifically chronic migraine is, most people are like, oh, and it's like, yeah. That's why, because I do get people come in here and like I would say I'm not offended by it. It's not something that upsets me, nor is it like we need to take any action against. The people come in and say things like, how can you be disabled by migraines? It's like, oh ho ho. Let me tell you. Have you ever had a migraine? Yeah, I used to get them when I was a kid. All right, that every day. That's how. Have that nearly every day. That's how you, because to have chronic migraines you have to have them more than 16 days a month, and I far exceed my quota when it comes to that. So it is pretty easy to explain to people, which I think is the one benefit, is like once you kind of get the idea that like it's that thing you had that one time but every single day, people are a bit more like, oh. Oh dear. Can I suggest having one of your parents studying to become a doctor? I actually do not need one of my parents to become a doctor. Not only do I have a lot of medical professionals in my family, Mama Jelly is like, she's like, I don't know how to say it, head of the head of the head of the head. When it comes to, she's like she was a nurse practitioner for a really long time and then started writing like articles. I'm very proud of her, basically. She's a very smart bean. She got all the smart genes in the family. And like she does so much for the medical field at this point. And not only is she doing all that for the medical field, she's also spending any extra money on becoming a psychotherapist, because you can't get grants and stuff for that. So she saved up all the money and is now doing that so that she can help people with their mental health more as well. I'm very proud of her. She's literally every kind of nurse and doctor or whatever under the sun. She's done everything. Oh dear. Yeah, Mama Jelly just wants to help people, and literally when you see her work days, like especially growing up, she was like leaving the house at like 2 a.m. to be on call because they just needed a little extra help, and she would go. She she was out, and she does articles and articles and articles and articles. She like helps other people train, and now she's doing this completely out of her own pocket so that she can help people with their mental health as well, on more than just like a preliminary basis. Yeah, although that's also why I knew that the pandemic was so hard, because my god, they took so much away from her. It was awful. Like she was forced to do such awful, like, it was horrible. Like, her hours obviously have always been kind of mental, but like they were pushing their doctors and nurses to the point of like death, like working themselves to death. It was awful, the way that they treated the NHS staff during the pandemic, and I get why, but it's also the fact that they're like, we want more psychotherapists, we want more this. Okay, do grants and bursaries for them so that the average person can become one of them, maybe. That's something she's been protesting for a while. Because basically the way psychotherapy works in the UK, I talked about this before, but I'll talk about it again. Only people who save and save and save, or who are born wealthy, can apply to become psychotherapists, because it's a very expensive course to take. Which means a lot of people that go to psychotherapists might be having issues with money, might be having issues with like jobs and working and stuff like that. Well, how can they relate as somebody who's come from wealth? Because most psychotherapists do. They come from a wealthy background, and that's why they can apply to be a psychotherapist. There's no like, I would like working class. There's no working class psychotherapists, or psychotherapists that come from a working class background, really. It's for upper class and middle class only. Ah, dear. Which is a problem, because a lot of the people that are going to them are going to be working class, and are going to want someone to relate to the struggles they're going through. Migraines are absolutely not just a headache. They are so much. They are so much. Also, Sanko, welcome on in. I hope you're having a good day. Mama Jelly is a very lovely bean. Mama Jelly just wants to help people. Whenever she calls, I have to be very careful of what I tell her, though. Can't tell I've been too ill, otherwise panic mode. And then I have to do things, and I'm like, no. Very good bean. Very protective. Oh dear. I was giving you advice whenever you mention you have migraines the first time you've heard of it. Yeah, it does happen. It happens more on Twitch than it happens in real life. On Twitch, you get people saying like, oh, have you tried this tea? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? The answer is normally yes. I've really tried everything within my physical capabilities to do. But yeah, it's, I'll be honest, the reason I don't like that kind of comment though is more because it's really, I feel bad having to tell people that nothing will work like that. Like, it's gonna have to go towards Botox and then potentially surgery. Like, that's the only way that I'm gonna get better. And I feel very dismissive of people when I have to say it like that. And so I don't really like that generally, because then I feel like a bad person for telling them like that won't work. And like, I don't, it's just sad. I really don't like that kind of line of questioning, really. It's like, have you tried this? Because it's only ever gonna be a sad outcome, and I don't like focusing on that too much. Yeah. There's surgery for migraines. There are surgery for migraines. It really depends on the kind of migraines you're having though, and what's causing them. So a friend of mine just had like a large surgery on her neck to have her thyroids and some other stuff done, like basically to help try and fix what was causing her migraines. And it hasn't got rid of them completely, but she's gone down from maybe, I think she had like 5 migraines a week too. We were very similar. She had like 5 migraines a week to maybe just 1 migraine a week now. So it has made it a lot better. I know somebody else who's had surgery and it's fixed it for them completely, but like, surgery is a last ditch resort, if that makes sense. It's not something most people will get. It's if Botox doesn't work, if none of the medications have worked, if there's nothing that's fixing it, especially if a triptan doesn't work for you, which fortunately for me it does, but if that's the case, then they'll probably put you on to something and then do your surgery. But it's not like a surgery for migraine. It's very much a tailored surgery, which helps people with migraines. And it very much also depends on what's causing your migraines, or what could potentially be the cause of your migraines, because it's very difficult to say. I thought Botox was only cosmetic. No! So did you know Botox kills your nerve endings? It stops you feeling pain. So if you put Botox, we actually think the Botox will work really well for me, since most of my issues stem from my neck. So we're gonna get you get 36 injections every single time, and they're not put for like cosmetic. They're put into the back of your neck, over your ears, and for some people over the foreheads and temples. Depends where the pain is coming from. For me, it's almost definitely my neck, and they'll kill all the pain receptors in that area, and that way you still have migraines, but they are dulled. They are dulled to the point where you can do things. So like you might still get some other symptoms as well, like you might still have the visual disturbances, but you won't necessarily get the nausea and the pain. And I'd say the nausea and the pain for most people are one of the most disabling parts. For me, the pain is easily the most disabling part. That's what gets me in bed and stuck. So yeah, it kills your pain. Doesn't necessarily get rid of the migraine, but it can dull them a lot. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Floto, you're off. Take care. It was lovely to see you. I hope the rest of your day goes well. Thank you for listening to my rants. My sad migraine rant. I don't even have a migraine right now. I just have maybe COVID. Oh, dear. Yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing. So, like, the ideal is that you kill those receptors, and then hopefully, no more migraines. That's the hope. I guess it makes sense why people struggle to move their eyebrows and stuff. Yeah, over time, it will just kill the nerves. So, like, if you get... it doesn't work after one round. You normally get 6 or 8 rounds of Botox before they'll stop if it hasn't had any effect. And nearly nobody gets any effects, like positive effects, within the first 6 months. So you have to have at least 2 rounds before they start to notice any effect. Up to 18 months worth of treatments, which if you have a treatment every 3 months, that's 6, I think. Yeah, 6. So they'll do 6 rounds of treatment. If you are noticing anything positive within those first 6 rounds, they'll keep going a little bit longer. If not, they'll stop them, and then you'll have to consider other options like surgery. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes. But we are actually, I'm trying to keep like a, what do you call it, expectations low, because there's always a chance it won't help. But this is the treatment we've been most confident about since day one for me, because my issues stem from my neck. Yeah. I guess it makes sense why people are going to believe it. Yeah, a dentist ripped off a tooth from me before and a nerve ending. Even after 4 injections, it hurt. It hurted. No. Yeah, teeth are one of the worst, right? Like, for pain. Like, the nerve endings in your teeth are so sensitive. Oh, God. Get well. I will. Fingers crossed it works. Yeah, I am crossing all fingers. I'm still on the waiting list. The waiting list is really, really long because not a lot of... It's treated like a surgery, and that a surgeon and a neurologist would be the ones helping you. You might also get local anesthetic, so it's like you have to go in like it's a procedure every time, and it has to be done by the neurologist in the hospital. So it's like, it's not like a simple one. You have to go in as if you're having like a minor operation. And to be fair, 36 Botox injections is quite a lot. And they do say that you want to go with someone if you can, because you won't be able to move very well afterwards. So you'll get like really, really stiff, especially for like the week after you get it. So you won't be able to move your head very much. Like this. Can't do this. So yeah, it's kind of treated like a surgery, even though it's not really a surgery. It's like the closest to surgery without being surgery, you know? Like you have your surgeon, you have your neurologist, and you have the local anesthetic. But I don't even know if you have to have local anesthetic, but I think you can. But then you have to stay for longer, so I don't know. I haven't had local anesthetic the last few times I've had anything done. So I could probably grit my teeth through it. I'm not particularly afraid of needles as well, and so yeah. If I do get it, I'll make sure to take a picture of it afterwards though, because I probably won't show my face on stream for a while, but I would like to get at least one picture, because it takes a little while for the Botox to settle, so it looks like you're just covered in tiny little lumps. So like, you look like you'll just have lots of tiny little tumours all over your head. Because again, bear in mind, it's 36 separate points, so it'll look like you have 36 separate tumours. I'll take a picture of it. So you guys can see, because I won't be coming onto stream like that. I think it's a bit too horrific. Ooh. Oh, I'm so glad I streamed today, honestly. It's like really cheered me up. I was kind of bummed because I wasn't going to be able to go to the house tomorrow, probably, to do the wallpaper stuff. But now that I've chatted with everybody, I feel a lot happier. It could also be that I am mildly delirious. I did have it. I wasn't super high. What was it? 38.7, I think? It's like a fever, but it's like not like, I'm alright. Shiny's fever is higher than mine, but he has no symptoms. Whereas I have like a headache and I feel like I'm sweating out of every orifice. Whereas Shiny has like a higher fever and is like not sweating at all. They're fine. I feel like this is incredibly unfair. Why do I have to sweat this much? Why me? But yeah, I am glad they're feeling okay, to be fair, because I was worried because Shiny hasn't had it. We don't know that it's COVID yet as well, I should say, which it just seems like it might be because the main symptoms we're having are fevers, and like also we're getting them at exactly the same time and we always go out together and stuff like that, so it feels like COVID, but it might not be. I don't know, difficult to say exactly, we're just guessing. But yeah, we got our symptoms on exactly the same day. Yeah, I woke up this morning, I was like, no, not having it, not today. Today is not the day. Oh, it almost looks like sheet music bits, which is really, really pretty. I like that a lot. I do want to have some proper lines in here because they'll end up being lines of sequins and beads, which I think will look really, really nice. I want to make sure that I incorporate some of them throughout the entire thing, not just in this area where I know there's more. Oh dear, make sure there's no blood. Don't want you getting bad, exactly. But I wouldn't post it on Twitch for that exact reason. I'd like do a covered one, like what do you call it? Spoiled one on Discord or something like that. Yeah. So you didn't have to see it, but you could. Oh dear. Thank you for the hugs. Heck yeah, Jello hugs. Not too close though, I don't want to give you COVID. Thank you. I like making VTubers. I actually was thinking that now that I had some more free time, I might make some more just random models. We could always do like a raffle, and I can make you a VTuber based on your username. Because I like drawing the simple, like chibi style ones. They're fun. Be like, what's a Jords? Well, Jords actually has a VTuber. I can make a new one that's a bit more specific. Get them like a football jersey. Beads and jelly cosplay. What? Oh, Sunkoi, you do sewing. Have you heard of a tambour hook? I'm probably putting the wrong accent on it. Tambour hook. Have you heard of one of those? I don't know how you say it. Tambour. Tambour? Tambour. 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 Tambour hook. Have you used one of those before? You saw one earlier as well. I also saw one earlier and I was like, I'm putting one of those in my shopping basket on Amazon. I'm getting a tambour hook. I'm getting one. I need one. I need it. It looks so good. Looks like it makes beading and sequining so much easier. Oh my god. And it's using the same material that I'm using on my next costume. Perfect. Tambour hook me up. George VTuber. When? George VTuber already? That'd be cool, right? Do like a little raffle every month. I don't know yet though. I'd probably want to get some bases made just to like get back into practice again, because I've not made any for like a year, so. But I really enjoy making VTubers. I just make really simple ones though. I mean, most of the people I make VTubers for don't use them very often, so they're just like a fun little gimmick. They're not like really, really detailed, but I have fun with it. I like adding jiggle physics to my jelly. Like, look at him go. Oh my god, he's so bouncy. Oh dear. So yeah, I have fun with it. This one was really difficult because of the face move. Like, because it's kind of cartoonish, I wanted the hair to go behind like the cheek, and that made it really difficult, honestly. Also, when I face forward, I have hair on both sides, so it's just like, yeah. George! George! Are you trying to sound West Country? Not on purpose. I'm doing well too. Yeah! Yeah! I saw a tweet about it earlier and I was like, I need it. I need it. Me. I want that. Put that in my life. And it's like 10 quid on Amazon for a whole kit, so it's like, hell yeah. Now that's an expenditure I can afford. Especially since I'm gonna be stuck at home a lot. Like, why not? I want to do that. And it's gonna be so much beading on this, and yeah. Amber hooked me up. I'm very excited. It's gonna be great. Right, what's under the armpit? I think under the armpit is just that. It's pretty clear. I can see some really small, like, shapes, but I think they're probably more, like, just the shapes of the crystals, but really, really small. Scales, almost. And then I can see, like, some bits going in here. It could be tubes, I think, honestly. I want some, because they'll end up being the rows of beads and stuff. I want some really, really thin ones too. Just for a bit of diversity. And I think I can see... I can definitely see some going down the arm, but not so much at the top of the arm. That's okay, I'll try and stick it accurate. As if, what is a tambour hook? A I don't know, I'm just gonna put my accent on it every time I say it. This is gonna get very cursed very quickly. The hook is, basically, it means you can bead a lot quicker. So you thread beads onto the hook, and on the other side you have thread, and you kind of like put it through onto the thread, pull it off, put on a bead, and then you just do it like that. I'd say have a little look at tambour hook embroidery or tambour hook beading on YouTube, and you'll see people doing it really, really quickly. And it's just a much quicker way of adding beads or sequins or embroidery to something. It's like speed embroidering. Yeah. So it'll make that whole process a lot quicker. It's not something I could have done on the last project, so I don't feel too bad about it, but on this project I can definitely do it. Oh dear. Glad to hear it. Besides the cough doing well, it's like, oh no, why is everybody sick? Jaws! Get yourself a blanket. It's cold weather for you as well, so it probably doesn't help, right? Meanwhile, we have like the most humid air at the moment because of all the thunderstorm warnings. My current front runner for next year's Twitch, I'm thinking, what if I add all the do it? Join me in beading. Oh my god, wait, Sunkoi, we could do collaboration streams where we just sit and bead for hours. Oh, it'd be so cute. We could probably even get Amazonia to join us, because I think they're also going to be stuck in beading limbo. Just make a whole costume out of beads. I mean, that is basically what I'm doing. Like, Zoe will be predominantly made out of beads and sequins. Like, I will be doing some 3D printing into her and maybe some resin stuff as well, but the majority of it will be filled in with beads, sequining, and embroidery. Yeah. I'm going to say going very down. Heck yeah! Because otherwise it's like a really slow process to stream, so it'd be kind of fun. What do I want to put here? I think I can see some like, almost like, yeah, like crystal style stuff just here, but like a little bit smaller and with the bits at the bottom. There you go. It looks really odd because it's a lot of detail, but we're getting there. And then through here I'll just do like the general embroidery stuff. Heck yeah, I'm gonna have to do like a proper design for this, but it'll be much easier when it's split into the pattern pieces, and I can decide what goes on each pattern piece. Especially trying to get the 3D printing mixed in with it. I had COVID a few weeks ago. Oh, I'm glad you're feeling better though, George. I'm sorry that you had COVID. Speaking of, but I'm glad you're feeling better. Is your sense of smell and taste okay? Such a great, that's the idea. The idea is, okay, did I tell you this the other day? I might have. I'm gonna keep telling you this over and over again because I'm so pleased with myself. The idea is that I like limp out onto stage, walking like the molded, like really fluidly, but like kind of janky onto stage, and like display myself as a molded, and I'll even give the judges like, just telling them that I'm the molded from Resident Evil 7, and then partway through, unzip the legs and rip out of the front, so like, kind of like chest coming out of the front, yeah? And then suddenly it's underneath. So go from really, really grotesque to really, really like detailed and beaded and beautiful. That's the plan. I wanted to be dramatic. So I've made it very dramatic, but I think it'll be really fun. That's the plan, that's the plan. I have to go, oh, you're fine, Anime. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope that it goes well. Yes, thank you so much for popping by. Thanks, I didn't lose my sense of taste or smell. Mainly cough, body ache, and sore throat for 2 days too. Ooh, ouch. Ouch. And you're such a busy person as well. I must have put a real stop to your busyness for a couple days. Oh dear. I am so glad that you still have like your sense of taste and everything though. I think most people at the moment are keeping it, especially if you've been like vaccinated and stuff like that. I think you have like a much lower chance of losing it. But to me, that would be like the most devastating bit. I think is like losing your sense of taste or like not being able to eat some of the stuff you used to enjoy. I think that would be really, really sad. So that's like my first question to everyone who's had COVID. How's your sense of taste? Are you doing okay? Can you still taste things? Is everything all right? Because I think, at least in my opinion, that's like the saddest bit is people like not enjoying their favorite foods anymore. I think that's very sad. That makes me sad. 12 days off including the trip. Well, at least you had a proper break to recover. You know, that's good. I might go get another cooling pad at the moment. I have like these cooling pads on my neck to help stop me sweating as much. And they've been really, really good, honestly. But I might need to get another one soon because this one's getting a little bit warm. Fortunately, we got a lot of them. I think it will be going to a very important, exciting appointment! Heck yeah! Good luck! I hope that goes well! Taste has well been fine. Did lose appetite for a while though. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I feel like if you're coughing a lot, it'd be difficult to get hungry. Your body's focusing too much on the coughing, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I feel like that makes sense to me. Like, I think I would also... Well, I say that. I haven't lost my appetite. Oh, but I haven't eaten today yet. Okay, well, scratch that. I have lost my appetite, I suppose. I didn't even notice. I have a whole unopened bag of peanuts. That's not like me. Ah, dear. I guess I have lost my appetite. But as far as I'm aware, like, my chai still tastes like chai. So... I don't think I've lost my sense of taste. And I can definitely smell some stuff. I could smell the bins going out this morning. Honestly, I get it done with losing my sense of smell then, when the bin truck goes past. I can definitely still smell that. Oh dear. Stay cool. Heck yeah, gotta stay cool. Yeah, all things considered, I just have a fever. It could still not be COVID. There's always a chance I just have a fever. Like maybe something else is going on. I do get fevers relatively frequently, but normally I don't also get like headaches at the same time. And after stream yesterday, I kind of assumed I was gonna have a migraine because I felt really sick. I don't feel sick anymore, but I did feel really sick. And then I was like, maybe it's all the cheese that I've eaten. And honestly, it could have been all the cheese that I ate. I did eat a lot of cheese. But like, I felt really sick, which I normally don't feel after eating cheese, honestly. I normally like get stomachache, but I don't normally feel sick. I kind of thought I was gonna have a migraine, and I didn't. And now I'm like, maybe it was just my body gearing up to be ill. In retrospective, I also should not have eaten that much cheese. My god, my body suffered. And that had nothing to do with COVID. That was just a lot of cheese for someone who's lactose intolerant. That was just a lot. I feel good. I had a headache for the first day only. I'd like it. I'll be honest though, I haven't had like a headache like this. Like this is just all over my, like the top of my head. I haven't had a headache like this for a very long time. Like normally my headaches go straight into migraines and go like behind one eye and all that good stuff. But no, this is just a headache. And I haven't had just a headache for a very long time. That's why I know something's wrong. Just a headache? That's not like me. Normally there'd at least be a little migraine. I'm very excited to make this costume. You can probably tell because I keep talking about it so much, but like every time I look at it, I'm just like, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. It's exactly the stuff that I like in costumes. It's just ridiculously over-detailed and beaded, and I love it, and I am very about it. I'm very excited to start making this. The nice thing about this costume as well, which is the other reason I decided to make it, because I will be making my wedding dress in the next year, it means that any of the sequins I don't use on this costume, I can use on my wedding dress. It's perfect. There's a lot of really good synergy between this costume and my wedding dress, because it's all white in it. It's gonna be great. It means I don't have to buy lots of extra sequins and beads. I'll have them already in pots, so that I can instantly use any of the extras on that. Heck yeah. Exciting, right? It's so nice. I was like super excited about. Very nice, honestly. After the last costume, I don't know how you felt, Sunkoi. I was like a little down after the last costume because I was like, I had nothing to work on for a while. And I was like, oh no. I've got nothing driving me at this point. What do I do? And then as soon as I started working on this, I was like, hell yeah. Now I know what I do. I do this. Okay. That is a lot going on there. There's a lot going on, but then also a lot going on in her. If I do Gwendolyn, I know ship extra white beads. Oh yeah, give me. I'll put them on my wedding dress. Oh dear. Although my wedding dress is not actually going to be white, it's going to be. I've already got the base fabric for it. It's more like ivory with flecks of gold and baby pink in it. Because I didn't want a white dress personally. So. Oh dear, would you be? I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Gwendolyn now and I'm like, there's so much gold and I love it. Oh my god, like look at all this hecking gold. Whoa, whoa. Would you do a lot of gold beading as well? Because there's like a lot of gold. But then yeah, white is, yeah, there's a lot of white too. Oh my god, it's so cool. It's such a good costume, honestly. I love it. There's a lot of really good art as well that you could use as references. Like this beautiful piece on the back there. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Sounds like a pretty fabric. Yeah, I love it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's the one. It's not plain, and it's like, it's quite thick, so it'll hold its shape well. Gold beads, white beads, all the beads. If you need gold beads. Unfortunately, I did actually use most of my gold beads, but I do have a lot of general gold decorations if you want any, because I'm not going to be using gold for a while now, probably. Let's see if I find any. I think I got them in one of the boxes behind me. I kind of packed all of my sparklies from Mateus away in a single box because I was like, I'm not really sure where to put them. Excuse me, I'm probably gonna like fall off screen. Don't mind me. Just falling around. Ah, there we go. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, actually, wait, there's some iridescent sequins in there. I could use that. This is, like, all of the stuff that I used that I was, like, just not sure where to put. I could actually use the iridescent sequins and the sewing machine needles. But, like, as far as the gold stuff goes, I have all these gold sequins, if you need any. And then I have, like, lots of bronzy gold stuff like that, which is still in the packet. And then, of course, all the beads that you saw, like, I still have some of them in their, like, original packets. So if you need, like, really, really tiny gold beads, I still have some of them, like, in their packagings, which I didn't use. I think there's another one, yeah, there as well, which is, these are slightly different, so... Oh, no, these ones are the same. Well, there should be a slightly different one in there somewhere, which is more of a yellow gold. There's my hooks and eyes. I got all the little pots of them as well. So, yeah, if you need any extra gold beads... Oh, yeah, there they are. Put them in there. These are the slightly more goldy ones. And then those are more bronzy. Yeah, if you need any gold beads, I've got like a surplus of gold right now because of Mateus. And I'd be happy to just send them to you because I'd rather they get used. Like, I will probably use them one day, but like, that day could be 10 years in the future. And I really should get a hold of my hoarding problem and stop keeping all this kind of stuff. Because like, you know... Nobody needs this much just gold in their house. I have more gold as well. This is just the Mateus gold. That's the real problem. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna keep the iridescent stuff to one side because I could actually use that. You decided to make a short Gwendolyn bed. Oh yeah, only if you're doing that costume. Otherwise, I won't offload my I won't offload my unused craft supplies on you. These, are, however, I will use for sure. Those ones are very useful. And I honestly should just keep my sewing needles to hand because who knows when you break your needles, right? Keep them to hand. Packing those away is very optimistic. Oh dear. So I can see that there's some like sticky out bits here, which I might just put on right at the side. There you go. There we are. Always have spare needles, exactly. I last time I was in a town, I bought a few extra because even though like none of them had broken, I was like, I'm not getting in this situation again. I kind of want to look at another image of Zoe really quickly, just to get an idea of what's happening on the other side a bit better. So let's get this one up because this one's also like pretty good. I really need the top half right now, but you can kind of see more of what's going into. So I can see, like, for instance, out of this bit, which I just drew, there are like some like lines which I can do. And I could probably do one under there too. And just get one coming out there. Yeah, that'd look good. So like the veiny style lines. There's a lot more underneath her arm, unfortunately, which I can't see because of her arm being there, but I can at least get these ones done. Go and just nice. Add spares to shopping list. Yeah, I mean, you always need them though, right? We always need more stuff like that for when there are incidents and something breaks. Can't be too careful, really. And then I think I can see some coming out of here too, which maybe it's around the top of them. Yeah, I think it's around the top of them because I can see something here. And just get that going up there. That'll look really good going into there. I think I've got that line a bit high. I might be a bit lower than that, but that's okay. Because it does go quite high up here is the thing, so that's why I think we've done it so high, because also we have some like pretty intense bits going up there, but the rest of it's not that high. That's okay, that's okay. Dear, yeah, I'm slowly... I ordered some samples for this costume from Minerva, because Minerva, I like them a lot, they do samples. You have to pay like 1/10, I think, of the price per meter, so, and then they give you 10 centimeters of each of them, so you do have to pay for them, but I prefer that to shops that only let you get like 3 samples, because I needed like 15, and it's easier for me if I can just buy 15 samples, thanks very much. So I got some samples on the way from Minerva. The samples are actually mainly for the molded outside, because I already know a place where I can get basically my skin tone in stretch mesh from Boobtober. Boobtober has got me some ideas for where I can get stuff like that for this part, so I didn't really need any samples. I think I got a couple of samples of the not stretch mesh that I'll be using in these parts. So the way that this will work, first of all, it's going to have a zip the whole way up the back. It's going to have to go the whole way up because this part in particular is going to go up my neck as well. So from the very top of my neck all the way down, and then the rest of it, like the arms and the legs, I'm going to do the embroidery so that there's always parts that are unembroidered on it, so that there's always at least like 1 inch or so of stretch, because I will be covering a lot of bits in a white mesh that doesn't stretch, and that will then stop obviously any of that area from moving. So while that's okay to do in the main body because of the zip going from top to bottom, it won't be okay to do that on the arms or the legs. So the legs and the arms will have more specific areas of designs and embroideries, and then like always 1 inch where it's just stretch mesh, so that I can easily get in and out of it, because to get my leg down it will have to stretch just a little bit, but not too much, honestly. It just has to move a bit, and so to be able to get in and out of it, I'll be doing that. Because the other option was to add like zips down the legs, and don't really want to do that. The arms wouldn't be so much of an issue, and I'll have the glove as a separate part to the arm. Yeah. Stretch is definitely important to consider, yeah, because all the bits like this, for instance, that are really, really heavily detailed and embroidered, they won't stretch. But then this bit here, I've kind of got it off screen, but they are. That's going to be just embroidered directly into the stretch mesh, so it should stretch to a little bit underneath the arms. It's stuff like that, but then of course this, where I've got 3D printing, and that's not stretching at all. The body should be fine, to be fair. I don't have to worry quite so much about the body. It's more the... Yeah, it's more the... Oh, it's like touching my leg, which is freaking me out. It's more the legs that's going to be an issue. But we'll plan around for that. And then here we've got some really big leaves type shapes. These will probably be 3D printed, but that's okay. I kind of need to get these drawn up in Blender. I'm not going to use Blender today because I've never used Blender before, and I don't think doing it on a day where I have a fever is probably a good way to learn. But I will, at some point, be doing some Blender work on Twitch to get my pieces ready for 3D printing. Because yeah, I'll be designing all of my own, since they are kind of specific. Unfortunately, I love the scale ones, and I might download some of those to print, but they're just not quite specific enough to what I need, where they're all kind of different sizes and shapes. So I'll just be collecting some references. I actually will probably play Resident Evil's DLC again. I don't know whether I'll do that on stream or off stream. I guess it depends on whether you guys want to see what Zoe comes from, because if so, I'm happy to do just the DLC again, because the DLC has both the molded and Zoe in it, so that I can get plenty of screenshots of both. But I will want some like above screenshots and then to the side screenshots to get the 3D bit of it done well. I don't know. We can have a vote on that, about whether you guys would prefer us to do something else on stream or whether you'd like to see that on stream. Okay, I gotcha. Oh dear. Also, Gamut, welcome on in. I hope you're having a good day. We are getting some planning done for our End of Zoe costume. The End of Zoe. Infected Zoe. Oh dear. Oh, I just realized I don't have the heckin'... Oh, also, I don't need that anymore. That's old news. I don't have the bar on stream. 2 seconds. Let me get the bar, because I appreciate all the follows, and it is going towards something. Where is it? There. That's way too big, but that's okay. Let's get it to here, and then also the image needs to go behind that. There you go. That's better. Sorry, my order of things right now is not very good. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who is following. We do have plans to do a 24-hour cosplay stream with basically Twitch crowd control. So we will have lots of things that the Twitch chat can add or take away using bits or channel points. It's going to be a really heckin' fun day. I'm excited to do it. So everyone who's following is getting us a little bit closer to that 3,000 followers where we can do a stupid stream. A really stupid stream. If it means tonight, oh my god, yeah. Poor Zero is gonna be like, wait, you've played this game before. Where's Bloodborne? Poor Zero. They'll get their Bloodborne one day. They will. And then honestly, the day that I play Bloodborne, Zero's gonna be like, I'm out. I can't watch that. Wait, I'm not in. Can you do it a different day? I'm not even here. Sorry, Zero. It's just, you know, it's just streaming and it's set in stone. Set in stone. Oh, I can't wait to... It's going to be so much chaos. Yeah, everybody save your channel points. Because we're going to have some really, really expensive redeems. We're looking at like 100,000 channel points to redeem some of these bits. So save your channel points. Get as high as you can so that you can redeem some stupid stuff on the day. Late night Bloodborne. Could you imagine? Poor Zero. Oh, I would feel so bad doing that to them though. Because they're in the Australian time zone, so they would not be awake. Oh, I would feel so bad, but it would be very funny. Oh dear, right. It's weird because this one also is not really showing what's... So I'm gonna change the image again. Sorry, I keep changing this image, but it's because different images of Zoe show different parts. And like, this one, she might be upside down. Yeah, so this is gonna show in a slightly different way again. Like, you can see all, like, the lines a lot here. So, do you see how some of them make her look more crystally and some of them make her look more gooey? So we kind of need to merge that so that we have a bit of both. Because on this side, she has a massive, like, collection of growths. Like, from here. And, like, that's not in the other image. So, yeah, it's a... It's a bit of a mission trying to get all the images together because she looks quite different in all of them. It's, I think, because the growths kind of move on her a little bit, and I think that's what causes it, but it does make it kind of difficult to mimic. It's like, I really need to just pick one, and then that's, you know. I think I have it like it comes from like here. And then there are other ones down the side of her as well, which if we have it like this, will actually probably look pretty good because we can create some like general lumps, like so, which will look kind of cool just because of where the body it sits. And then yeah, between these, she has some of the bigger lumps on the top half, but not like so much of the leaf shapes. Like this one doesn't really show any leaf shapes at all. Whereas obviously on the other one we had loads and loads of leaf shapes to work with. So it's difficult, it's difficult. You need to look at us from so many different places. I know there's a reason to hold all these points. Heck yeah, that's gonna be the time. We will have some bit ones as well, but the channel points ones will be there. So it's like, if you don't want to spend bit, that's fine. Got some big channel point ones. That way everyone should be able to take part. Regardless of whether they have bits or channel points, there should be a way for you to take part. Let's try this one. This one is a full body, but if I, for instance, blow it up at the hip, I can kind of see some of this bit, which is kind of down here. So this, again, you can see some more of the growth style structures here, but it looks different again. This is kind of what makes this costume complicated, in that it always looks different in whatever view you're looking at it in. It doesn't look quite the same. And then get the one there. And then... and then it's probably that one there. There you go. There you go. Get that under there. So, and then this one is like, they kind of look like they're attached to each other, sort of, with their shapes kind of merging. I don't know that they are attached to each other, but they kind of look like it. So, there we go. Even though there are distinct shapes in there, it's just get them attached to each other. It's kind of grotesque, but it's, I don't know, it's gonna look really pretty with the sort of beading and sequining and stuff that we're using, so even though it's kind of grotesque, it probably won't end up looking that grotesque. Yeah, channel points, I have those. Yeah, but there's a few people I'm very afraid of, honestly, George, because like, I know they've got a lot of channel points and I know they could redeem a lot, but also that's kind of what I want it to be. I want it to be where people can really just let loose and like mess around a lot and be able to use all their channel points in one go if they want to. Because we haven't really had an opportunity like that for a fair while, and I think it'd be pretty fun. Yeah. Be a fun challenge for me as well. I can see there's one up the side. I am just going to add that. Go. And then this bit in the middle kind of looks like it's predominantly just embroidery. Again, like small embroidery. I can see like a few little bits, but it's like mainly just, there you go, mainly just embroidery, I think. Just the thin stuff that can go over the top of the stretch, no problem. It's good to have areas like that though, because otherwise stuff would be so stiff and would just not move at all. That's kind of what that looks like to me, I think. Maybe like a little bit more distinction. Go, just get those shaded a little bit. And then get these shaded in a little bit. They look very lumpy. And then get that into there. And then get this one, which I don't really know where I put it there. Like I was gonna say, I'm sure there's a place that comes off of that one, and I just don't know where I put it. There. There you go. Cool. We got some little lumpy bits under there now. Kind of gross, but yeah. Not me, no? No? Is that so? How'd that happen, Shifty? You're always here. You must have one or two. Dear. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I think it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be mad, and we'll probably end up making something absolutely weird, but I think it'll be really fun. Excuse me, my character's glitching out while I drink some tea. Oh dear, right. We have a bit that kind of bears some notice, which is this bit that comes from underneath. And that will probably sit on around that bit of the hip. So this is my modesty slime. It's the lines of slime that kind of cover the areas where the built-in pants will probably be if we do them built-in. Those are my modesty slime. Because that is one thing with character design. You have to get your underwear in there, otherwise you're gonna be screwed when you start building it and then you realize you're completely indecent. Completely indecent on the internet. How did that happen? You didn't put in your modesty slime, that's why. Small bit of modesty slime goes a very long way. And go. Ugh. Modesty slime is not a phrase I was expecting to. But like, what would you use? Listen, it's got to be modesty slime. It just covers those areas which you don't want people to see. And use your modesty slime. There we go. Here's a little bit more. There's another tendril of modesty slime. But they might even do a small tendril next to it as well. There we go. I do need to have somewhere for these really big ones to go as well, because there's some really big ones that go down the other side. But I will change screen for that. Let's see. Which Zoe will show me? I think it's gonna be this one again. He's upside down, but excuse me. I can kind of see it going down. I can see the modesty slime. All that stuff is underneath the modesty slime. I can't see. The hand's in the way. It's in there. I guess it's open to my interpretation, right? If I can't see it, that means I get to choose. Which means I am going to have it come together here. And then go down a little bit through there, but not too much. And then I might have some going over this way, actually. Because honestly, I do want one big piece together, and this might do that well. This might actually do a good job with that. Having it like as an O shape, yeah, in the middle. It's a little different to the original plans, but I think it will work well. There we go. Got our big old slimy bits there. And then get that up there. And then all the way up there. There we go. It's kind of a motif. I don't mind it. Accurate phase, just unexpected. Zoe's for days. Stretch. Yeah, I've got so many Zoe pictures at this point because I really would like to go in and get some of my own screenshots, but it's just so useful. Like, honestly, I missed this with Mateus. It's like, you know, having usable screenshots and stuff like that. I missed that. It's nice. It means I have like a guide, that's something that I can follow. It does make things a little bit easier without having to choose to design your own thing the whole time. Like, as much as it was nice to have like a lot of freedom with Mateus, like, I'm quite enjoying the order that I currently have. Go. Okay. So that's kind of getting into the really weird crossworky bit under there, but then I think what I need is a different Zoe again. Maybe... What's this one? I mean, that is good, but it's really not very detailed, so I think probably not that one. Maybe... Go back to this one? Okay. She's in the corner. Oh, she's also huge. Oh my god. Oh my god, Zoe. Zoe! Smaller. There you go. Maybe this one for a little bit. This one doesn't show so much of the really big pieces of slime like the other one does. Do you see what I mean when I say they're really, really different? And so you kind of have to choose the bits that you're following on the different reference images, because this one has no big tendrils of slime going up the front. None. And there's like some over around the waist, but there's none this high up. Whereas the other one, it's the most obvious feature of it is that they have these really, really big tendrils. So, like when I was getting all of my my reference images together, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a pain, isn't it? Because in some of these she has tendrils, and in some of these she doesn't. Great. Great. Oh dear. Matrix! Welcome on in, I hope you're doing well. Hi! I got some of these Zoe pictures for the cosplay, right? Yeah! I'm enjoying how references to my potential options too, rather than having to design from scratch. Yeah! Is there a plan for the face? Yeah, there is. I do have an image of that, but I'm not sure where I've put it. I think it might be in the wrong folder right now. I do have, so some of them I have in things I want to cosplay, so my cosplay plans. And then some of the other pictures I have in like a dedicated folder that I've made. If it's in cosplay plans, it's lost to the world. I can't find it. If it's in my references, I can keep it. Oh, I have this one, but I do have it as an individual as well. There's another one that's a bit better actually. Sorry, it's real quick. I could probably just get it because I should. There's two really close face pictures that I can use, but one of them I cannot save for the life of me. Yeah, it saves as like a web file. Let's see if I can go into it and just save it like that because, yeah, where is it? Where is it? There it is. It's a really good picture, honestly, and I really would like to save it. Let me do that. Oh, I don't want to save it as a web file. Oh wait, what I could do actually is cheat. Yes, I will cheat. There we go, and what? I'm not screenshotting this. This one's just a really good picture of it, and I want to keep it. Save as, put it in my pictures. For the cosplay, because I should honestly get this together, put it in my references, save. There we go. And there was another one as well, which for the same kind of reason, for some reason I couldn't save it, which is also really good, which is after she's woken up. Can I save this image? No. God damn it. Can I open this image in a new tab? Oh, is it from Twitter? That might be why. There you go, get that one. Okay. Right, let me show you. Now that I've done all that, let me get these images up for you. I have them. Okay. Browse. So this was the first picture I wanted, but it's gonna be sideways because I've been editing things. But at least you can see it. It kind of shows like more from the video game concept rather than from the actual, like when you're playing it, it's just the concept before. But it's a really good one. It kind of shows the hair well, so keep that one. And then the one that I really wanted was this one, which again, it's going to be an angle, and it's also going to be bloody huge. Hello! Oh my god. Let's get that down there, and let's get this down here. So this is a screenshot from the actual game, which is what I wanted because it actually shows a lot more of the neck. And oh, excuse me 2 seconds. There you go. Oh, why are none of these locked down? Jelly, that's terrible. Okay. Lock all that down, thank you very much. Okay, there you go. So it's a screenshot from the actual game, so it's just like a little bit more, but this is after she's woken up, so it's when she's like been injected and she's starting to recover. That's the only thing is I don't know how honest this one is because she's technically in recovery at this point from the infection, which is why like her eye is open, but it's still only one of them. Yeah. Oh dear. There we go. There's a cosplay I want to make or modify because I've never used a sewing machine. Can you give me recommendations? Also, what character is this? This is Zoe from Resident Evil 7. It says underneath the VTuber. If you have a little look underneath the VTuber. that is what it says. Yeah. I should get the right image of Zoe back up again, obviously, because like, which was the one I was using? It was... Oh, I've forgotten. I think it was this one. Was it that one? Probably. Yeah, because this one has none of the extra tendril things. Can I give recommendations for a sewing machine or recommendation for a cosplay? Because I'll be honest, no to both of those. The reason is, for cosplay, you have to make that decision yourself. Like, when it comes to doing a cosplay, that's a very personal decision, and nobody else should be making that decision for you. The only time when I would say you let other people make that decision is if there's a very popular character that you want to profit off. Then maybe, I guess technically the public would make that decision for you, but generally that's a personal thing. Who you cosplay is very personal, and I don't think anybody else can really recommend anything for that. And as far as the sewing machine goes, I can't give a recommendation because you can't give a worldwide recommendation of one sewing machine. Reason being that some countries will struggle to fix certain brands, while others it's the top brand. So I would say go into your local sewing machine shop, have a little look around, and make sure you keep in mind the fabrics that you want to sew with so that you can tell that to the person at the counter. That way they can find you the best machine for you personally, while it also being a brand that you can easily have repaired should you ever need it. Yes. Don't trust people who recommend you one sewing machine online without hearing where you live first, because they could be setting you up for failure without even realizing. Oh dear. Oh, you own a sewing machine? Oh, okay, cool. You're fine then. In that case, you don't need to buy one. Nurse Valentine for Skullgirls. I don't think any similar dress on Amazon, yet I see plenty of people wearing it. I can make the hat, I have red foam, I have bandages, gloves. What I'd say is if you're thinking to make the dress yourself, you could always look to see if there is a sewing pattern that's similar to the dress. That's what a lot of the other people will probably use. It's like they'll find a similar sewing pattern and then do that. That's what I do at least. Oh. Wow. Sorry, I just need to like... There's a lot going on here right now. I'm sick. Leave me be. I have to adjust everything every 3 minutes, but that's okay. Yeah, it's a bit difficult because up here there's none of those details, but I'm going to try to incorporate some of the more petally details in here, because even though this is different to what the one on the screen is showing, it's taking inspiration from both all the reference images, because she does look so different in all of the references. Yeah. Ah dear, what was this again? I can't remember. I have forgotten. I think this was maybe meant to be like an extra slime tendril, which I can add quickly. This one I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking there. Maybe I could put some petals in there. You know what? You can never have enough petals. And I really like the petal shapes. They make me happy, so... I like the 3D. Okay, get some petals in there. I could even do another... Oh, actually, it's kind of flat on that side, so I probably shouldn't. I'll just do the edge of it here, I guess. Like so. Yeah, there you go. More petal theme. Very nice. And then... Oh. I think we'll pretend that the edge is there, even though I've drawn the edge on higher, because I think that actually suits better, since it is pretty low on that side. It's a bit higher the other side. Yeah. I think... Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Alright, and then let's get like some extra smaller tendrils out, because the tendrils are going to look really cool. Thing is, I really want to lean into them because I just know I can do those well. Like the rest of it, I can fill in space pretty well with embroidery and sequining, but I just know the tendrils are going to look really, really cool. So I want to have plenty of them, so I have lots to work with. And then there you go. Get some of that at the top. And then... Okay, we're getting there. We're slowly building it up. Slowly but surely. It is being built up. Again, I'll probably redo this a little bit once it comes to getting the pattern pieces done, because I'll have to design each pattern piece kind of what goes on it, since a lot of it will be done when it's not been sewn together. But that's okay, we can work that out later. That's not today's problem, that's another day's problem, that's for sure. I think I might just also have some tendrils coming out from here, because they kind of are all congregating on the same point, and I think that will look really, really cool. And then a lot of, it just adds to like the veiny look as well, so. And then There we go. Because I've got such a big design move on this side, the rest of it I can kind of fill in with this one. Place them with pink shurikens so it doesn't break the Geneva Convention. I insist on using red crosses. Be a walking Geneva Convention violation. Be aware, if you have any symbols on you that could be considered upsetting, offensive to any other convention attendees, you will not be allowed in. That is a very fixed rule in cosplay stuff. If you have anything on you that could be considered illegal, against the law, as a hate crime, or just generally could upset other congoers, you will not be allowed into a convention. And I have seen people get kicked out for stuff like that. So just as a heads up, don't get yourself thrown out of a convention. You could get banned for life and it's not worth it. But if you don't think it's going to be that bad, you go ahead. It's just something to consider. There we go. Oh dear, I've heard a lot of people say like, I don't care what other people say. This is how I want it to look, and I'm sticking to accuracy. So yes, I'm gonna put a swastika on my arm, and it's like, you're an idiot. Get ready to get banned from all conventions. Obviously it's a little bit different, but like, you get what I mean. Be careful. Execute self-preservation. Okay, I think this bit, it's just going to be like beading in like small like spots and just joining them up with this. Ah dear. There you go. There we go. Oh, in all cons? Yeah. So a lot of the conventions here are run by the same organizers, which means if you get banned in one, you get banned in all of them. That's just how it goes. Just because, not all of them, and you can normally tell which ones are under the same ones, but like, yeah. You can get banned from a fair selection. Oh dear. Also, it's like, you know, not necessarily someone you want to be known as, I suppose. Especially because you might have done something very little and small, but once people find out, they'll like blow it up out of proportion and make it sound like you did come in with like really like hateful stuff on you, even if that might not have been the case. Oh dear. The internet's a scary place, my dudes. Also, never bring actual weapons to a convention. Yes, very good. So every single year, somebody breaks that. Every single year. The difference between TikTok and going into a convention, Jumbo, is that in a convention you are surrounded by other people. On TikTok, you can be on your own. So the reason they have these rules and laws and whatever you want to call them in conventions is because of the amount of people going from different backgrounds, different cultures, stuff like that. And the fact that they want this to be a safe place for everyone, except for disabled people, but you know, we've been over that. They want it to be a safe place for everyone. And so that's why. TikTok doesn't give a shit. As long as you're bringing in numbers, why should TikTok care? There's no real people there. It's all online. Yeah, I'm not telling you to attack your costume idea. I'm telling you because I don't want to see you get banned. Yeah. Oh dear. Right, I think there's some more leafy ones, so we're gonna put a few more in here. I did want that to be a relatively large motif as well. And then that space in between is really veiny, so I'm going to do some like, I guess more intense veins. I do like that kind of thing and just have it like there. And then like so. I think. Oh dear. I wonder if Singapore has laws. I mean, I would say always err on the side of caution. If you don't know, you can email the event organizer. If they give you an ambiguous answer, then don't do it. Because people have been arrested. People have had literally things added to their criminal records through cosplay. In very worst case scenarios, cosplayers have died. That's why I tell people to execute so much precaution, because people have been shot for wearing costumes in public because they haven't been able to identify whether or not the weapon is real. So that's why I'm so heavy on like exercise precautions, put yourself first. If you are not sure, don't do it, because it is absolutely not worth it. For some person with a gun or a knife or whatever, or over here I guess to be a baton most of the time, to have an itchy trigger finger and go too far. Like, it is legitimately not worth your life. Don't do it. If you're worried in any capacity that something could happen, don't do it. And then you can always pose for those photos at home in a safe private place, or rent a photography studio, or get like do something organized like that, where maybe you can have the accurate representation. But if you think in public you could be in any danger whatsoever, do not do it. And weapons is one of the worst ones. People bringing real weapons is unfortunately, or not even real weapons, but just weapons that look real at a distance. It's like a lot more dangerous than people give it credit for. What's Jelly said, even if a prop looks too real, like using a prop gun with an orange cap, there's a huge risk to your con-going experience and also your life. Yeah. And like, I'm not over exaggerating. Cosplayers have died. They have been killed during photo shoots. They have been killed on their way to conventions because somebody had an itchy trigger finger and was concerned. So when you're traveling to a convention, make sure your props are not visible. Make sure they are wrapped up in bubble wrap if they are too large. Make sure that you are not flinging around a gun or a knife or something that could be considered a weapon. But because even if when you look close, it's obviously not real, somebody 10 meters away doesn't know that. And on the off chance you meet a bad person, you could die. I'm not saying this to try and put people off cosplay, because I absolutely love cosplay. I think it's a fantastic hobby. As much as I would hate to hear that anybody that watched this stream had got into that circumstance. Yeah. You won't be allowed into a con if security has doubts. That's the other thing. But not only can you not be allowed into a con, you can also be arrested on the spot. Like, even if you can prove later in the day that, oh, yeah, this was fake and this was fake and this was fake and yada, 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 and they let you go, you could spend your entire day with the police. Like, if there is even a shadow of a doubt, yeah, don't do it. It's not worth the risk. You'll have a terrible day. Best case scenario, you have a terrible day. Worst case scenario, you die. Ah, dear. I do not share the character's opinions. Yeah, but also, like, if you are doing a character that does have hate symbols on it, or symbols that could be, you won't be allowed in. This is what I mean is when I see, like, yeah, also re-hate symbols, generally you don't want to be causing harm to people at their cosplay. Yeah, exactly. Like, chasing accuracy is one thing, but when that accuracy hurts whole groups of people, it's not okay anymore. Like, that's not play, that's not fun. That's just you being an asshole, and you honestly deserve to be arrested. Like, every year someone doesn't have the common sense to consider that they are in public around other people and gets arrested. Like, every year at these big cons you see people getting escorted out by police because they went for their accuracy so hard they committed a hate crime. It's like, come on now, you're in public. Just because you're doing cosplay doesn't mean you're not in public anymore. It takes 2 seconds to use the common sense to realize this is a terrible idea. And not only is it a terrible idea, it's a terrible idea that could hurt people. Most cosplayers, thankfully, have a lot more common sense than that and don't do things that could actively upset other members of the public, you know? It's like, come on. It's so obvious. Oh dear. Cosplay doesn't excuse you from the law. Exactly. And also, you have to bear in mind, when other people in the public look at your costume, what are they going to do? If you have a really obvious wound on you that's maybe completely fake, but it's like an obvious wound, people are going to call the ambulance. People are going to call you a doctor. They're going to get you help because they're going to see you walking around covered in blood. Don't do that. It's not okay. Like, you are wasting potentially the ambulance's time, which I think is a crime in this country, but I can't quite remember. That's another one. If you're going to apply body paint like that, wait till you get to the convention. Because if you walk around covered in blood, you scare members of the public, you risk having like an ambulance called for you, and then you could risk, having a criminal offense put against you. If you're gonna put blood on your costume, wait till you get to the convention. There are plenty of spaces in conventions for you to add that kind of makeup. Wait till you get there. Oh dear. Talking about is because you don't want the sexy nurse to wear the symbol of an actual medical officer. That's fair. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. I should say, in your case, you're probably fine. I'm kind of taking more of a general statement at this point. For you, I think you'll be fine. You're not putting on hate symbols on your costume. I'd still be careful depending on what the laws in your area are. For instance, like impersonating police officers. I don't know in Singapore if there's anything about impersonating a medical person. Probably not. It's definitely worth checking. But it's more to do with people that do stuff like what we've been discussing with weapons and blood and stuff like that. It is a crime to call an ambulance without a cause, or at least a minor crime that will result in a fine. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's a crime, but I can't remember. Personally, I've never called an ambulance without a cause. Oh dear. If you know only call an ambulance where there's nothing going on in a crime. If somebody else calls you out your knowledge, it is not okay, so if somebody calls one for you, that's different. Okay. Still probably best not to do it though, because you are wasting a valuable resource. Like that could have gone and saved someone's life. So yeah, if you're applying blood, wait till you get to a convention. Also check with the convention, because some conventions do, if they're more family friendly, will have guidelines against having blood at conventions anyway. Sugar's like, oh, get some snacks. Look after yourself, Sunkoi. Yeah. And all this is to say, have a lot of fun at conventions. If you're going to conventions, I hope you all have really, really good time. It's just like simple common sense things, like remembering that the laws still apply to you when you're at a convention, that some cosplayers really have a hard time with, and will just go out and do stuff that is like, you absolutely cannot do. You absolutely cannot do some of these things. And yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Not worth it to ruin your own convention experience by doing any of that. Oh dear. Oh, right, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna have to replicate it on the other side, which is gonna be hard, but I'm pretty happy with the kind of details we've been adding. I might want a few more little, like, yeah, beep, beeps of design in there. Or I saw hype over Cosplay where a symbol sell her photos for $50, so it looks like it's erring on the side of okay, but I guess I should still research if the bright. Yeah, listen, do your own research. This is what I always stand for. It's like, just don't. For you, I think you'll probably be okay if I had to guess, but it's always worth to do your own research to make sure that you don't get yourself in a pickle. Oh dear. Oh. My neck hurts. My head hurts a little bit. You know what? I will finish this one, and then I think we'll call it for the day. To be fair, I might end up streaming tomorrow because like I have literally nothing better to do if I can't go to the house. So we might get just an extra day of streaming in tomorrow. But while I'm not very well, I'm gonna take it a little bit easy and do a few less streams, or a few shorter streams even. It's a shame because I really want to push for partner this month and like get a lot done and do lots of stuff and like try and grow, but yeah, health comes first, and making sure that I am doing okay should always come first. So we'll be trying to get healthy again ASAP. I don't even know what's necessarily wrong with me. It might not be COVID. It just seems like it could be, but then a lot of other things are very similar to COVID at the moment, so who knows? It might not even be COVID. It might be something else, which would be good because then I wouldn't get stuck inside for so long, I suppose, because COVID lasts a bit longer. Although it depends. I guess for some people it does only last a couple days. We'll see. We'll just have to see. There's plenty of streams I want to do as well anyway. Like I want to learn how to use Blender. We could do some more VTuber style streams and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a bad thing. There we go. That took a very long time to do just the one, but I think that's mainly because I was procrastinating and chatting. Rather than doing my work, but that's okay. You know what? It was gonna be a chill stream, and it has been a chill stream. Although we talked about some very political topics. Other than that, in a chill stream. There we go. What do you think? I think this might end up being the design that I follow. So I hope you guys like it because you're gonna see a lot of it. This is gonna take a really long time to do. Oh dear. So Granny called a cop on the Kill la Kill cosplay, but this is the thing. People in the public don't understand. They just think you're showing your underboobs. Yeah, and your tits, right? And that is a crime in a lot of places. Like, that's not okay. So wearing that little clothing may make you look like a flasher. And then you have to understand that people in the general public don't know. As funny as it is, like, they just don't know. And so you can't really blame them. Okay, let me have a look. Please don't look at my keyboard. I know it's really zoomed in, but I need you to not look because I gotta do some typing really quickly. Let's have a look-see and see who is live right now, because I think we're gonna send you all on a little raid, because I am a little tired and sick, and I can't stream for as long as I normally would. So we'll go into somebody else for a bit. Let's see who is live. Oh, Dem's live. We could send you all over to Dem. There we go. That'd be a good time. Excuse me. Dem is doing some Mafia. They are one of our mods. They're very heckin' sweet bean, and they always deserve more love. Excuse me. So let's send you all over to Dem. Sorry, I've got like the hiccups. A good time to be ending the stream is when I can't stop hiccuping. Dear, I think probably the next few streams will be VTuber streams. But like, I hope you guys can see, like, I'm still here. Like, I'm still here chatting. Like, it doesn't really make that much difference to the rest of the stream, honestly. It's just that I don't show you how sweaty I am the entire day. So hopefully everyone's okay with that. I'm just, yeah, not really well enough to be doing a normal stream right now. Grab a raid call if you fancy. Dem does sound familiar, huh? Grab a raid call if you fancy, and thank you for putting those in the chat today. I really appreciate it. I'm looking at, don't look at it respectfully. Don't look at it at all. It doesn't exist. There is no keyboard. We'll send you all over to Dem, send them some love. They're heckin' sweet bean, and I will get some rest and hopefully be better in the next couple days. I'll see you all soon. Take care.